Hello and welcome to the Hockenheimring for the 11th round of the championship. That's right, the German Grand Prix here in Formula Sprint 1 in the GPVWC ladder. My name is Edward Hunter, and joining me for qualifying, our 33-lap feature race and our 22-lap sprint is Mr. Eoin Harmon and the wonderful Fabian Jungbluth, our broadcast director then. So we entered this round then at a pretty interesting time in the championship. In the drivers, Alex Laho, of course, he started another winning streak, hasn't he, Eoin, winning both races last time out at the he didn't win the second race at Hungaroring, did he? Just won the race one, didn't he? But nonetheless, his lead in the championship, as you can see, is about 91 points ahead of Patrick Rozak for Emerald Hummingbird, with then a considerable gap to Frank Hamming as well. Hamming having a little bit of a off day, particularly crashing in race one, costing him a lot of points. Then Hamming's only about 3 points out of Lucas Tylin, who's starting to get his season back on track. Then we have the two potentiators, Omari Watson on 211 points. But Jack Mayer, I believe for the third or fourth round in a row, ever since Silverstone, Jack Mayer has basically gone missing. And that's been a big setback for Potentia. Omar actually sent me a message after Hungaroring, Eoin, where he said, yeah, I know you're trying to praise me, but there's no way I'm going to be able to beat HGP in the championship driving by myself. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out, especially if Harmon keeps making mistakes. But yeah, Michael Francesconi's win, of course, in race 2, meaning the Italian, is now into the top 9 in the standings, just behind Alexander Gonzalez Green and Scott Flack in the overpower. And then rounding out the top 10, we've got our second Hugh performance, and that is Mr. Che Hatch, of course, who won a couple rounds ago at Spa and has been sort of nipping his on the heels of the podium or getting onto that bottom step the last couple of races then. So yeah, we are all set then. 23 cars to do battle for qualifying here, and the Hockenheimring, it may not be the old 2001 and pre-2001 layout that whispered off into the forest with long chicanes, but it's still quite high speed, quite technical, and it's going to lead to a lot of overtaking up the Chindy zone. So welcome to the Forest of Hockenheim.
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks very much for welcoming me in. We'll just say Potentia are completely absent. It's not just Jack, it's Omari as well, who had to declare that he's unable to attend at the last minute. So Potentia in real trouble in terms of being able to catch up to HGP at all. So I'm afraid we're not going to see either of those dashing blue cars driving around these forests today. So it's a great chance for HGP to pull clear, and indeed Hugh Performance, they look very good in our first practice session. So the omens are not looking good for anyone to bring the championship leader to halt at the moment, but we're on board with Perseus Miram at the moment as everyone wants to set their banker laps.
Yeah, certainly me and everybody else in the GPV podcast pre-season that predicted Potentia to win the championship is now looking rather silly, given that they've got no cars at all, not even any substitutes for this particular race then. But there is Perseus Miram, the Canadian, who's done the last couple of rounds, hasn't he, for 0-1, and towards the line he comes. He's going to be one of our first to set a time, just behind Matthias Gazowski. Of course, remember, it's private qualifying. They're not directly competing against each other. And interestingly, as you see Che Hatch absolutely fly over the inside curb at the first corner, it is Patrick Rozak that has very narrowly taken the early blood. Brilliant sector 2 by Rozak, 37.219. Axel Ho fastest in the final sector, and his teammate Che Hatch fastest in the first sector. All of them within a tenth of a second, with the likes of Cardaz and Flack not far behind either then.
At all. And another name who's just popped up to say hello without being in the cockpit today is Raymond van Soest, who's on his holidays on the European continent today. So I hope he's having a lovely time. But hopefully when the summer break is over next month, we can all get back down to business and have our complete grid again. So Roshak currently on provisional pole, setting that benchmark time at 1 minute 17.5. It definitely means that the elite drivers are still dominating proceedings. Yeah, fair play to Cardaz and P4. Gives Gallery 82 something to root for. And Tylene is just in that gap with Scott Flack filling in for the remainder of the top 5. But Roshak on that second attempt looked a little bit wary, a little bit slippery out there. So he's going to abandon that one. And race 2 winner, Michael Francesconi from the Hungaroring, is looking like he's going to improve on this lap, but we'll confirm when he crosses the middle sector line coming up in just a moment.
Of course, 23 cars on the grid. It's similar to what we saw in FS2 as well, so it doesn't feel like the GPV calendar, because they need to cram so many races in, that they've not really got quite the time for a big summer break that coincides with everybody's holiday. It will coincide with somebody's holiday. Hopefully, as we see Francesconi, our most recent winner, attacking the curbs at Sud Curve, the southernmost curve on the circuit. Then into turn 1, he flies in to begin another lap, 119.1. So at the moment, Francesconi is just behind Matthias Gazowski. So it looks like both Emerald Hummingbirds are well hooked up around here as Ragotza lets the sparks fly. Turn 1 is very, very tricky to sort of stay within track limits. We saw a couple of drivers in FS2, including Miki Akimi, who was fighting for the win in race 2, actually spin into the wall, just pushing that a little bit too hard. He was definitely not the only one. There was the likes of Craig Patterson as well that fell afoul of it. So even the really experienced drivers really struggled just at the very first corner of the track to sort of keep it clean in racing conditions. As through the Spitz curve ebb and goes Rogota, who led to the back end, absolutely hang out. And that is just a case of too heavy on the loud pedal, and the 0-1 cried enough there.
Yeah, 0-1 Esports, again, a team that are just hoping to collect points each and every round just to keep them safe from going under. So they're just fighting away to make sure that they can relish any scores that they can pick up. And Pessi Mikkonen for Alpha Sierra, one of those other teams in and around there in the mid-pack. He's going to cross the line with a significant improvement there. He's up to P11 with a low 118s. And Oliver Hargitay, he's going to try and match that, but I'm afraid he only rises to 17th. And that's taken away immediately by Michel Galka.
Yeah, certainly for the smaller teams as well. Having a smaller field means there's a better chance of scoring points, and I can tell you that's from experience after my own difficult FS2 season then when we got quite a few points on Tuesday. But yeah, Alex Laho, though, has set the fastest first sector of anybody, 116.942. Rozak on a personal best, 116.973 here. So this is going to be really interesting. Che Hatch is not far behind either of them as well, but of course not quite setting personal best. Oh, look at that middle sector from Laho, incredibly committed, a whole tenth up on everybody else, 37.118. So it's all about this final sector here as he's approaching Sud Curve. And can he steal another pole position?
Just got to hold on to it, the double right. The car drifts out beautifully. That looks spot on to me. It should be in the 117 threes. No, it is certainly, I should say it is enough, but yeah, not quite 116 just yet. But that is absolutely stupendous yet again from Alex Laho.
Yeah, 2.5 tenths up on Patrick Rozak, who I think has had to abandon that lap because he was 2 seconds slower in the middle sector alone. There's Massimiliano Ruboli. Looks like Overpower, another team that have got the setups working well here. It seems Hugh, Emerald Hummingbird, and Overpower are the three really strong teams at the moment then. Scott Flack, of course, as expected in the top 5, but Ruboli as well, just on the fringes of the top 10 here. How much would it mean to the Finnish outfit to get 2 of their cars into the top 10? Because, of course, Overpower 7th in the championship. It's mainly been Scott Flack getting the lion's share of the points so far. But they desperately want to catch KKR for 6th, who are about 50 points ahead of them. Still enough time to catch, and into P9 goes Ribbley with a decent first and final sector there. And that puts him right in the mix ahead of Francesconi, but only by 1,000th of a second.
Goodness gracious, that is so narrow, the gap there between the two Italians. And Samuel Fisher as well is doing a splendid job as Bottle's latest recruit. But Damien Cardaz is definitely... Oh, no, he's not quite going to get it that time. He may have lost a few hundredths, but he kept the throttle fully flat, and he should be able to at least compete here. But I don't think he'll be able to improve. It could prove... No, yeah, he's going to abandon the lap. But yeah, I have to say, yeah, Cardaz is shining brightest of the drivers that may not have as many accolades to his name at the moment. But yeah, with another 6 minutes to go, there's plenty of time. This Hockenheimring, very short in its modern 21st century rendition. So yeah, it's very possible to get 2 or 3 laps done in this remaining time. And again, trouble at Mobile 1 curve there, just catching out Alexander a little bit too much. But he's definitely half a second or more on his personal best. So I'd continue the lap, and he is going to do so, Ed.
Yep, nothing to lose, of course, for 0-1 or for Rugotza at the moment. 0-1 14th in the championship, but only 5 points away from MS Performance as Rugotza just attacks the curbs at turn 1 there and begins another flying lap with 5.5 minutes left to go. There's Rozak, though, knows he needs to fight back here. Has he got anything left to throw at Alex Laho in this qualifying battle? Not on this particular lap. He's going to abandon it and put on some fresh tyres.
How about Harald Janovic for Team Iris? This is a case where he's pretty much just in that midway point, not exactly midway, but if he gets P11 or P12, then that would confirm he's slap bang in the middle. At the moment, he's up by 1/10 of a second through the Mercedes chicane, and now he'll see the drag strip just in front of him, and he's gained a huge amount there, 37.4 middle sector. No trouble with the gravel trap on his left side tires, and he'll go through the Sachs curve very cleanly as well. Beautiful helicopter shot here, looking down on the final right-handers. It's a smooth driving stall from Antonio. No stress placed upon that car whatsoever. And he's into the top 10 with a beautiful 117.9. And Francesconi goes down to 10th. And then Bossani and Samuel Fisher together for the bottle team, 11th and 12th. Ragosa will try again. So it's not like his laps are registering. He's just seemingly going and going again.
Yeah, I do wonder if Samuel Fisher is in any way related to Dylan Fisher. It does seem unlikely, though. I think it's probably just a common last name then.
Common name.
But yeah, Busani, of course, will be recognised by our FSTV as drove for the Chimera team, of course. Has been a semi-regular point scorer for them as well. So Bodal, with both regular drivers unavailable, trying out 2 new recruits then, as we see Gazowski improving, setting a personal best. I think 117.7 as Scott Flack through Mobile 1 is absolutely hanging out now into Sachs curve. He gets the overpower all over the curb on the exterior there. And you can see he's lost about a 10th and a half in the middle sector there. So, like, absolutely pushing that final corner at Sud curve can be really lethal if you let the rear hang out. You can just become so unstable, and you need all the power down that start-finish straight. As Scott Flack, goes wide and off track through turn 1, remains in P6 at the moment, but you sense there's just maybe a little bit more time you can get out of that. He's only 5 thousandths away from Gazowski in P5. And then Cardaz in the lead gear of the 82 is only about 7 thousandths behind Che Hatch at the moment. So a lot of our front runners, Alex Laho, I think for these final 3 minutes, we're not going to see him on track at all because he doesn't think he can improve. He thinks 117.293 is the fastest lap that is possible by any of them. And he's made this judgment call before and has ended up not being beaten for pole position. So wouldn't be surprised if Laho has done enough here.
Yeah, I go along with that. He does need to exert any more energy. I know he's been stuck in the heat wave a lot of the time, so if he can get even 2 minutes break before warm-up, that would be ideal for him. Menno Clant, who had his break, he's now ready to jump back in and get back to business with CM Tech, and boy, do they need him at the moment. Yeah, he's just got the banker lap secured, so this is definitely something that needs to be reviewed here because that middle sector is quite beneath the target time. So hopefully you'll get much closer to the likes of Philip Koenig. So yeah, this lap needs to be abandoned and he must try again. Just
that was a late call.
Yeah, it was in.
Yeah, he missed the ball. He went, I think around the bollard the wrong way, and then into the grass and gravel on the exit of the pit lane. Yeah, so Menno. Yeah, Menno's definitely having his fair share of adventures today, and the race hasn't even started then. As there is Perseus Miram, 21st at the moment. I'm trying to remember what Miram's best qualifying we've seen of him so far. I don't think he has broken into the top 20 yet, so this is his best chance. Of course, he's got to beat Koenig and maybe Juho Soppinen as well. Soppinen himself is only about 5 thousandths behind Alexander Brigosa. We've not seen Soppinen in action since Jeddah, I believe, as Miram actually loses a position. He's been leapfrogged by, I think, Michal Galka in the second gear 82, who's gotten up to P20 with 118.4. There is Che Hatch, the only Hugh Performance car out on track at the moment, and Hatch then a race winner back in race 2 at Spa. Currently looking at P3, but if he can just extend the gap to Cardaz, he'd be feeling that a little bit more comfortable here, because Damien Cardaz certainly has not had the greatest of luck this season, but his form last couple of races, Hungary especially, he was in the top 5 in both race 1 and 2. So could be a big threat to him, the form that he's in at the moment, the Polish driver. As through comes the Englishman, Che Hatch, remains P3, doesn't improve his time or position, despite a slightly promising first sector there. Rozak, though, realizes 30 seconds left to go. This has got to be the lap then. Can he get anywhere near? He has got within a 10th of Laho, interestingly, but he needs a 10th more if he wants his second pole of the season.
Oh, it's going to be a significant charge to the middle sector here. I think, oh no, he's given it up. He's gone wide at Mercedes curve. So that's the end of positions 2 and 3. Lucas Tylene's the only one who can get realistically close to them. We'll have to do 2 or 3 tenths improvement in the final sector just to guarantee it. Oh, he's missed out. So all the advantages gained in the first and second sectors are neutralized. So he does improve marginally, but he doesn't actually increase his position. Menno Clant, this should be his representative effort now. He's got to dig deep to make sure he doesn't start last. Through the hairpin he goes, and then through the straight line before the shift to the right here. Very misleading there. If you make contact in that corner, then you're going to spear off into the barrier, so ideally you don't overtake there. Now Mercedes stand. Oh, that's a big set of oversteer there. He's really slid, but he caught it just in the nick of time. I think that'll cost him a tenth or two. So yeah, he's still way up as he surges through Mobile 1 curve into the stadium section. Gotta make sure he doesn't get too tight to the apex, otherwise the banking will spear the car way off course. That's obeyed by Menno there. So 1 corner to go now. Just gotta hold tight. Make sure he accelerates at the right time. Use a lot of the AstroTurf across the line. And it's no positional improvement there. He's so close to Perseus, but not actually able to overtake him on the leaderboard. And Frank Hamming has significantly improved his position, though. He's just ahead of his teammate in the top 10.
Yeah, important lap there for Hamming, who's trying to keep his championship aspirations alive. Of course, he is about 61 points behind Rozak and himself 152 points behind Laho. Rozak goes 91 points behind Alex Laho then, who is once again our pole sitters. It looks like Cardaz has ran out of fuel on the way back to the pits. Not that it will matter. He still qualified a brilliant P4, of course, behind not just Laho, who's the 10th out of Rozak. That's got to be Rozak's, in the rounds that Laho has shown out, that's got to be Rozak's best qualifying performance of the season so far, although take nothing away from his pole at Imola when Laho was absent, of course. Che Hatch keeping his teammate backed up in support in P3, so it's looking like our championship leader's Hugh performance may well be extending that gap once again. Damien Cardez, as mentioned, just 3.5 tenths off a pole position and 7 thousandths away from Che Hatch. So Cardez desperately wants his first podium since Bahrain. Matis Gazowski, his best qualifying of the season for Emerald Hummingbird. And remember, the Hummingbird team, or the Emerald Hummingbird team, they're in 5th in the standings trying to catch Bodil. So that's really important for them on a day where Bodil have got neither of their regular drivers available. Scott Flack, P6, just 6 thousandths behind Gazowski. So that shows you how close it is. Relatively short circuit, of course. Lucas Tylin lines up P7. Then it will be Alexander Rogotza. That's got to be one of the better qualifying performances for 0-1, with Rogotza P8. Mark Saslagi, the Hungarian, after scoring points in his home race last time out, he's now P9, just ahead of our 3rd place man in the standings, Frank Hamming, who rounds out the top 10 ahead of his teammate Michael Francesconi, our most recent winner. Riccardo Busani, the FS2 regular, making, I believe, his first FS1 appearance of the season for Bodil in P12. Antonio Heljanovic is P13. Finally figured out Antonio's last name now, which I'm satisfied with. Samuel Fisher, making his debut, is P14. And rounding out what would be the point scorers if they finish in this order would be Massimiliano Riboli, just ahead of Pessi Mikkonen in the 2nd Alpha Sierra. Oliver Hargitay is 17th on the grid, ahead of the sole MS performance of Wesley Stefano. We heard Raymond Van Zust in the chat watching on. He'll be cheering Wesley on. Of that, I have no doubt whatsoever. Michel Galka in the 2nd category too will start 19th. And then we have an Excellion in the top 20. It is Juho Soppinen. So the Excellion team will be excited about that to see what Juho can do on his return. Philip Koenig lines up 21st on the grid, ahead of Canada's Perseus Miriam and Menno Klont, who, having seen the qualifying lap at the end, it either feels like Menno has either not had much chance to practice or he's not had much chance to do setup, or possibly a combination of the two, because, yeah, he set a much more competitive lap near the end, but he was struggling for quite a lot of that session then. So there's everything to gain for Menno Klont and CM Tech Racing, of course, celebrating their first podium last time out, if I'm not mistaken, at the Hungaroring in the form of Grimalizi, of course, scoring that one.
Grimalizi had a spectacular showing at the Hungaroring. Very well done to him. But yeah, I think Menno has been extremely busy the last couple of days, so I don't think his schedule.
He's just come back from holiday, isn't he? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, back from holiday. So yeah, extremely busy holiday time. So he'll be certainly back to his best, I'd say, after the summer break concludes. So yeah, just one of those things you have to get back to your routine and figure out how things go. But yeah, Hockenheim, it's not guaranteed to appear every year in GPV. I know rotation policy with the Nürburgring is quite likely when there's a German Grand Prix. So I know Hockenheim did appear last season, so I missed that one. I was at the football, so I missed that one last year. But I'm happy to say I can attend today. I do enjoy myself a German Grand Prix, and 01
Ooh.
Esports are one of the German teams, so they are nominated to be on the thumbnail today. We didn't get to talk about our thumbnail team 2 weeks ago due to the technical issues that cost us qualifying and the start of the Grand Prix. But yeah, I'm glad to say race 1 should be A-okay.
To be fair, we usually forget to talk about the thumbnail teams anyway because it's talk about everybody, which shows you my level of preparation. But yes, it is going into Mobile 1, I believe, because you see the beautiful stadium in the background. Yeah, the 01 Esports livery. And of course, they were, since we're talking about them, they were, of course, in FS2 a couple of seasons ago, recently moved up to FS1, have not exactly had things their own way this season. Started with a host of DNFs, and Ragota has been really the brightest spark for them, of course. P7 in the reverse grid race at Sepang, their best results so far. And of course, he was also P8 in the feature race at San Marino in Imola as well. Last 01 race they did at Spa, I believe, he scored in both races for the first time this season. Did Ragota 15th in race 1, 11th in race number 2. I'd have to look up the because they've got the drivers updated, but I think the teams is not quite updated on the sheet from from Hungary just yet. So I'm trying to remember how Ragota did there. But of course, Miriam is now his full-time teammate there. As that Percy's Miriam doing another spin in the background, this time losing his front wing. That was the same corner that he dropped it at before as well. So it's almost like he knows we're watching, and the Canadian who is not shy about being aggressive. I've commentated on him in other R-Factor 2 championships, and Percy's Miriam, say what you like about it, he's not always the fastest driver in the field, but he certainly races his heart out. Whoever is next to him on track, he will treat exactly the same. And there is definitely something admirable about his fighting spirit, which is one of his most endearing characteristics. But of course, Alexander Ragota, big history in Super Lights, as well as previously competing in FS1. So this season, while he didn't start off the strongest, he has cancelled out the DNFs. He's not had a DNF since race 1 in Canada, actually, although he has missed a couple of rounds. I don't think he was actually at Hungary, so that's probably why there's no results for Ragota there. So yeah, 01, as I say, in a fight with MS Performance, so it is what we're expecting really to see in the bottom end of the field with a few more points available for due to the lower attendance. Is basically a battle between Ragota and Wesley Stefano as the lead drivers in MS and 01, with maybe Persis Miriam sneaking a few points as well if he plays his cards right then. So certainly a lot to fight for. As you say, there is the threat of relegation back even to FS2 if 01 don't perform. But they're very popular, they're on home turf, and they're expected to do very well, especially with Ragota, of course, starting P8.
It's a very, very solid qualifying effort, and they just need to make sure they can convert that in the race itself. Tire strategy in the sunshine, I don't think it should be anything too shocking, to say the least, but certainly I know the Hockenheimring more difficult to overtake there than at many other venues. So I think Hockenheim with turns 2 and 6 especially, they will lend themselves to overtakes. If you're feeling very brave, turn 8 is an overtaking point. Also the turn 12, as we see one of the KKRs, Lucas Tylene to be exact, he's getting practice in for some potential overtaking maneuvers, but on the exit it will still be 0-1 ahead. But yeah, that's what I mean with turn 7, it's misleading corner when you're on your own, absolutely no problem to take. But as a bit of rear left to front right contact, but it's all good. Yeah, as I was just saying, yeah, turn 7, you don't notice it too significantly behind the wheel in a hot lap, but when you go racing with opponents side by side, then yeah, you're going to have to be very careful with how you turn in for that one. But yeah, it seems like that peaceful battle has come to an end for now, and we hope to see some more in the race itself.
I've seen more peaceful battles, I'll put it that way, Eoin. But yeah, it looked like Tylin just decided to dive it around the outside and hoped that he would be given the space. And unfortunately, the 0-1 just made a little bit of contact through, but luckily Tylin survived. We did see in the FS2 race on Tuesday that it's surprisingly easy to damage your car in contact around here, especially at the hairpin. So that's probably going to be turn 6 after the end, through that run out on the exit of turn 4, through the bit parabolica that you see Miriam negotiating now as he comes towards turn 6. This is probably going to be the main overtaking spot. People using DRS try and overtake one another. 33 laps, of course. There will be a bit of strategy as well. And I expect the pattern that we've seen for the majority of the season, most of the front runners going for hards in the first stint and switching to the softer compound for the final stint of the race, with maybe a couple going contra to that. But it feels like the contra strategy being slower but having the longer stint at the beginning. And there we go. I think Miriam has completely given up on that corner halfway through and decided to visit the car park there.
Oh, yeah, he's going to have to pay a few euros for that fee to park the car. I know he'll resume his work with 2 minutes remaining in the practice session. And Lorenzo's fact-checking mission is complete. He asked Samuel Fisher, are you in any way related to Dylan? And the answer is no. So it's two different Fisher families here in GPVWC.
Yeah, and I was trying to... There's a Fisher-Price joke in here somewhere that I can't find it. But anyway, well. It's certainly not one big happy family. It's separate families. They've got nothing to do with each other whatsoever. But yeah, still, it's a good name to have. And let's see what Sam does on his debut then for the Bodal team. He's certainly shown up well against Busani in that qualifying session, of course, that we've just seen, where they were pretty much right next to each other on the grid, weren't they? As I've exited out the qualifying results by mistake there. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, here we go. So Busani was P12, Fisher P14, held Janovic in between them in the Team Iris car. So yeah, there we go. Of course, with both HGPs ahead of them, it's a case of damage limitation for Bodal, but you never know. Busani and Fisher could well be stars of the future, so getting a go in FS1 could be a really, really vital opportunity for both of them to state their claim and put themselves in the shop window for 2027 or possibly later this season. Particularly teams that maybe have are a downer driver at the moment, they might be looking at these two with interest. Once, of course, Alexander Gonzalez-Green and James Juba, we expect to be back in that seat from once their holidays end. For the next round at sort of Monza onwards, effectively.
Yeah, there'll definitely be extra time for team managers to scour any free agents that may be available to fill in for a race or two and see how it goes with the open vacancies, or else maybe a reshuffle is necessary if something is going wrong. Like, I know it's a great shame we're not getting to see much more of Cap Clay. They continue to miss out at the moment, so I'd love to see them figure out what they need and make sure everyone is in the correct role to help the team out. So it would be fantastic to have them back, because I know I've discussed their horrible luck this season, every single stream it feels like, but it's better to have them participate and feel hard done by than not have them here at all. So I do hope Cap Clay, the other team without both drivers of both vehicles, they can return from September onwards.
Yeah, it's certainly been disappointing, because they had Juno Lopez, who was on pole for the first round of the season and put in some very strong performances. But yeah, it's a huge shame to see them. They are 10th in the standings going into this one, I believe, but they are essentially an AWOL team, effectively. Much like it's fair to say Potentia are in this particular round as well. So they're certainly not the only ones not here. But yeah, their absence has been, they've been very much a non-fixture in the grid ever since, about 6 races ago. I'm trying to remember the exact round that they stopped turning up to. I think it was Silverstone onwards. About the same time, or just before Jack Mayer went missing as well. I'm not sure if the two events are interrelated, but yeah, it definitely feels like with Alex Laho dominating, it has certainly tested the morale of some of the other teams, and some of them have responded by deciding that they want to give something else a go, which is absolutely fair. But it does mean, of course, there's a sort of empty spot on the grid, and it puts GPV in a sort of awkward position of figuring out what to do with it, effectively, because it's no good having a team if there's nobody there to drive it.
Yeah, of course. So now we've had Lunark step in as a total rebuild. They substituted in for, I think, who was it? Butler. Yeah, it was Butler Motorsport. They went out of sequence, and Lunark took their position as a brand new entity, and they did a fairly good job of it. So yeah, it is possible to start completely from scratch if everyone in administration is aware of it and they give it the green light. So yeah, it's certainly there are multiple ways to solve a team and their troubles. If there are significant problems, there are ways to overcome the obstacles, and I certainly hope we can have all 15 teams represented again very, very soon.
Absolutely then. Well, race 1 is about to start in the next few minutes or so. So don't go anywhere, because we're going to see Alex Laho can get his 10th win from pole position in race 1 this season, or if anybody can stop him. Tune in to find out. So, the formation lap begins here at Hockenheim, and it's Alex Laho at the head of the field, looking for a perfect 10 race 1 wins from his 10 appearances this season, of course, as round 11 is about to begin. You can see Patrick Rozak, one of the few drivers that's also tasted victory, the only other race 1 winner this season, actually, in Imola, where Laho was not there. Rozak put in a brilliant performance. He has put in some great performances while Laho's been there. The problem is Laho has sort of eclipsed them. So he's hoping to do the same again. And let's have a look at how the field lines up in its entirety then. Alex Laho on the front row once again, with Patrick Rozak alongside him. Che Hatch and Damien Cardas make up row 2. Cardas could be a bit of a danger man behind our 2 huge performances on the starting grid. Matis Gazowski in the second Hummingbird joins Scott Flack on row 3. On row 4, it's Lucas Filin and Alexander Ragotza. Row 5 is Mark Sislagi, just ahead of Frank Hamming. Then it's the second HGP immediately behind on row 6 of Michael Francesconi, joined by Antonio Heljanovic. On row 7, it is Samuel Fisher making his debut, just ahead of Massimiliano Rivoli. On row 8, it's Riccardo Pisani, just ahead of Pesi Mikkonen. Row 9, it's Oliver Hargitai, the Hungarian, just ahead of Wesley Stefano in the MS Performance. On row 10, it's Juho Soppinen, Super Soppinen, just ahead of Philip Koenig. Row 11, it's Persis Miriam, joined by Michelle Galka, and bring up the rear in 23rd position. On row 12, it is Menno Klont. So Menno has got it all to gain. Of course, race 2 at Nürburgring last season, Menno won, of course, in dramatic circumstances, as you will no doubt see later on during the ad break in between our 2 races, a replay of that particular moment. But yeah, Menno now has got a tougher job to win from the very back of the grid, and he needs primarily, ideally, to get into the points, but even more ideally, into the top 10 somewhere. Because as we see, everybody's slowing out the final corner, and Menno's actually overshot his box. He's not used to starting this far back. Yeah. But that is his situation then, and someone who's very used to starting at the front is Alex Laho, and that's exactly what he's about to do. Lights out at Hockenheim, and we are underway for race number 1. Rozak tucks in behind. Cardas is under attack from Gazowski, tries to get level with him into turn 1, but that was always going to be a risky move then, as there's a little bit of contact. I think Stefano has fallen right to the back with Hargitai. So those two come together at the first corner, and it's Scott Flack trying to dive up the inside of Gazowski as one of the Team Irises, Heljanovic, just facing the wrong way, having to get the car back under control as they slipstream each other in the long run through Parabolica into the hairpin at Spitzkurve for the first time. And here we go. It's Rozak up the inside of Laho for the lead. Laho turns in and finds an Emerald Hummingbird in the way. Rozak brilliantly, opportunistically takes the lead on lap 1 of 33, but a long way to go.
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah, a very, very testing 33 laps for these drivers. Oh, and Francesconi perhaps on the grass a little bit there. He has escaped with his car safe and sound. Pesi Mikkonen having to battle with Bossani there. They'll go side by side into Mobile 1 curve, but eventually someone has to yield, and that will be Mikkonen, still holding on to 14th. But again, Bossani round the outside car, wide there. That looks like Miram, yeah. He'll rejoin in P22. Hargitai trying to catch up to the pack. Bassani, yeah, he's got his bit between his teeth here. He senses an opportunity will come later on. Yeah, Menno Clant, who won the race 2 at the Nürburgring last year, he's got to work his way up, and he is P18. But Patrick Roszak, that's the headline news for lap 1, taking the lead at the hairpin, and that is a rare sight to see Alex Laho losing the lead on lap 1.
Yeah, certainly felt like Laho knew he was creating a big hole in the air behind him, as we see more drama for Koenig, who falls right to the back of the field, and Miriam has lost his front wing. Looks like Menno's also lost a place to Wesley Stefano as well, so we've got Koenig and Miriam without a front wing, as Scott Flack is trying to attack Gazowski here. Both of them on the soft tyres and trying to challenge Damien Cardas for P4. If the soft runners of Gazowski, Flack, and Ragota can't make progress here, that's very good for our three leaders of Rozak, Laho, and Che Hatch, because they can just continue their strategy unhindered and extend on the hards without losing track position then. So the more Gazowski and Flack fight each other, the better it is for their rivals then, as Scott Flack now, who was in that 5th position before Gazowski picked him off. Gazowski having by far his best showing of the season so far. He's been playing second fiddle, hasn't he, to Patrick Rozak. His teammate, of course, took his first couple of wins in Imola earlier this season. But Gazowski is very, very keen to show what he's made of, and Scott Flack has discovered that to his cost. It looks like Cardas might be next on the menu.
Of course, yeah, watch out there, Damien Cardas. It's going to be very tough by himself. Michel Galka not in the points at the moment, but he's trying his utmost to slip into position. Now with Alex Laho half a second down at the moment, he's perhaps going to line up an opportunity later on. It's just a little bit too optimistic to be diving down the inside there on lap 3. But if someone who feels like the inside line is open, it is Scott Flack here. So you've called it there, Ed. If he can hang on to the rear traction, he will be through, and Tylene could realise there's an opportunity coming at turn 8, because Cardas is going to follow the slipstream, leave the inside line open. He has to compromise his entry a little bit, but he does catch it in time. So yeah, Scott Flack enters the top 5, knocking Cardas down. But yeah, Francesconi and Hamming, 9th and 10th, will hope to put Ragosa under pressure now that Tylene is interested in making a move. Flack using a lot of that curb, but he's held it.
Yeah, Flack has certainly been nervous about using too much of the soft tyre in earlier races. He seems to be throwing caution to the wind at the present moment then, as we see Francesconi falling down the order. So our race 2 winner last time out has hit major trouble. He's still got his front wing as he reemerges just side by side with Hargatai, left just enough space for the Hungarian to get into 19th position there, but that's really costly for HGP. They would have been hoping to capitalise. Now they've got to rely on Hamming in 9th to bring home the points for the team second in the standings, of course. And this is a golden opportunity for Emerald Hummingbird to really gain ground here, with Rozak and Gazowski really excelling. You can tell Rozak has been pushing to try and set fastest lap, but now Laho set the fastest first sector of the race then, as he falls just short. Rozak has got him covered at the hairpin at the moment, and Patrick Rozak has been bested by Laho a number of times this season, most notably at Bahrain. They had a really, really physical fight at the end of that particular race. But Rozak has sort of learnt from some of his mistakes and is now really starting to respond well to the pressure put upon him by Alex Laho. And he's also got his teammate as a sort of mirror battle where Che Hatch is holding back Gazowski to try and hold on to P3 then. So Gazowski, it's been quite a while since his last podium in FS1 for the Hyperion team, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of seasons ago. So desperately he wants it, and Che Hatch has got to make sure that he doesn't make it things too easy here, because of course Gazowski on the softs, and if Gazowski gets through, Scott Flack will do exactly what he did with Cardas and just follow suit and trail Gazowski until it's time to pit, essentially.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, having Che Hatch in this podium position more often than not is of a huge boon to Hugh Performance. It allows them, we've seen in the past, they pit on the exact same lap. The spacing in between them is spot on here for any double stacks, so it is hugely beneficial to them. But now Alex Laho has put Roszak on the inside line on a defensive move, and the switchback is spot on. Laho, he's just got to wait. Yeah, there you go. He's clear, and he's into the lead. Roszak, his defensive maneuver has cost him a little bit. There's nothing much he could have done. But yeah, I'm afraid the switchback has been executed to perfection by Alex Laho.
I thought Rosek was thinking about a dive up the inside into Mercedes-Benz Arena there. As Koenig in 20 seconds has the fastest lap there is 1:19.945. I think he may have pit and put a fresh set of softs on to try and salvage something from the race after a difficult start then. But yeah, that was really, really well set up from Alex Lowe. Knew he had the run, forced Rosek to break that a little bit too deep into the Spitz curve hairpin, and that allowed him to go clean up the inside and just cover off the line completely then. So he kind of tricked Rosek into a mistake, and Patrick Rosek now has got to regroup. It's certainly a bit of a blow to his hopes of winning, but he's still got Lowe within range, and he's got the speed to fight back here as Che Hatch continues to fend off a merciless looking Gazowski as Filin now steals the fastest lap. Despite being on the harder tyre, he's now set a 1:19.9 in his bid to try and catch Scott Flack and Gazowski. He too is picked off Cardaz, who's starting to struggle. As you can see, Gazowski pulling to the outside of Che Hatch. Oh, they make contact at the hairpin at turn 6 there. Che Hatch spinning the wheels, trying to get back on the power as early as possible. And Scott Flack will be loving this because the more they fight, the more they fall into his clutches. Gazowski looking for the outside run into Mercedes-Benz Arena. He doesn't quite have the overlap. Oh, the rear tyre touches the front tire, but Gazowski's got the momentum and has got the inside for turn 9 there. You can see Flack almost, and round goes Filin. Oh my goodness, he's hit the curb. The rear tire spin. Has he got a bit of damage there? Oh, nearly collected by Hamming then as they go into Mobile 1. Hamming has to get off the line and would allow Filin to dive up the inside into Sachs curve. No, surely not then. So he's just in front of Fisher then, but Filin having a dramatic moment there while he was pushing like crazy, set the fastest lap of the race to try and catch Scott Flack, and that's ended up backfiring on him quite badly.
He's going to lose about 4 seconds, nearly 4 seconds as we catch the replay after the Mercedes curve into turn 9 into 10. Yeah, he's ridden the sausage curve there that sent him 360 degrees around.
We did well to avoid the wall, you know.
He did extremely well, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Spot on awareness driving. Yeah, he knew he had to get the car stopped in the nick of time, or at least slowed down. Now we can see Che Hatch is trying to rebound after that position was taken away from him, but in fairness to Mark Salagi, he's up to 7th as Cardaz has missed out again, and Cassie Mikkonen is going to try and make it a 7th and 8th for Alpha Sierra, which would be absolutely remarkable for the team after so many near misses and other bits of disappointment for them this season. To get that kind of score on the board would be amazing.
Yeah, Pacey Minkin's best result this season was in his first event for Alpha Sierra at Canada in race 2, where he got into P9. That was the race where he was one of a number of drivers that gambled on the dry tyres when it was sort of mixed conditions at the start, and the majority of the field went for Inters, of course. So that call proved to be the right one in the end. But you can see Cardaz is all over the show. He is either not enjoying those hard tyres as much as the softs he used in qualifying, or he is just genuinely struggling at the moment for whatever reason, because he has dropped from P4 to P8, and now it's not going to be long before, is that the second Alpha Sierra a lap down, if I'm not mistaken, or is that genuinely for position? No, it is. It's Sislagi that's got through to P7, and it's Mikkonen now in that P9 that is going to challenge Cardaz for P8, and he's going to drag Frank Hamming, our third place man in the standings, along with him. And here we go. Mikkonen dives up the inside from very early on, quite far back. Needs to make sure he doesn't collect the back of his teammate Sislagi, but he judges it very, very well, does the Finn. And that's another place lost for Cardaz, who is going to find himself overwhelmed by Hamming if he's not careful before too long. But yeah, the big fights are really Gazowski, Hatch, and Flack. It's interesting that Hatch has started to get the hard tyres back under control. Now he's got someone to slipstream. And Rozak now a second behind Lowe, who started to get him at almost arm's length there as we look at the battle just outside the points-paying positions. It's Galka holding on to 15th at the moment, with Stefano just behind him for MS Performance. Francisconi after his spin is P17, and then it's this battle. Heljanovic, Argitai, and Soppinen as well, right at the back here in P20, although he himself has actually made decent progress on the soft tyre here. So Soppinen could be, if the softs in 9 laps in are still working well, Soppinen could pick some of these drivers off before his pit stop.
Yeah, that'll be a fine objective for Juho to follow along with. He'll get a shot of the DRS now onto the run to turn 2. But yeah, for Francesconi, he has made up those positions on Hralljanovic and Soponen recently. So Stefano should be told in his ear, as we'll switch this battle in just a moment. But yeah, Stefano should be alert to what's coming in behind very soon. Scott Flack has made that pass on Jay Hatch for P4. That's a very, very smart move.
Well, he needed to do that because Gazowski on the same strategy was starting to escape up the road by about 1 second, 1.5 seconds or so. So he was only going to get held up by Jay Hatch. He had the slipstream, and it was imperative that he made the move when he did. Now he has done so. The Australian has got, again, a bit wide out of the Mobile 1 curve. They can't afford to do that too many times, but Scott Flack's staying just the right side of it. You can tell the rear tyres on the soft shod cars are really starting to take the punishment. A good 9 laps in here. But yeah, track temperature 48.7 degrees Celsius, air temperature 31.2. So it is one of the hotter days. Not quite as hot as we saw at the Hungaroring, but it's up there. So there is going to have to be a little bit of management. Now that Gazowski and Flack are in the top 4, both of them, no, they've not really got the pace. On the soft tyre, they're still lapping about a tenth of a second slower than Laho and Rozak, and that's Gazowski's best laps there. So him and Rozak setting about the same times, despite the fact that they've got a completely different tyres. So the hards now will ever so slightly come into their own. As you can see in the background, Ragotza is under attack from the Alpha Sierras, who are having a brilliant run so far, and it's now Mikkonen who's got past this laggy somehow, and he's now into the top 6 then. So they are working together well, Alpha Sierra, to chew their way up the order. And of course, Mikkonen on the softs has got to make use of them while he's got them. And now his next target is Jay Hatch, just 3.5 seconds up the road.
By all means, yeah, this is very exciting times for Pessi Mikkonen. I know in the live stream chat 2 weeks ago, everyone was so sad for him at the Hungaroring. I don't recall exactly what went wrong on him, but certainly...
I think he retired from both races, if I'm not
yes.
mistaken.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, had a double DNF, that's it. So, yeah, Pessi, much better approach to this round so far. He is really, really giving this his utmost with a previous best lap time of 120.1. And he's got even better, 119.8. That's the new fastest lap. Poor old Alexander will have to look at that jaw agape and just say, oh, there's no way I can keep up with that. I'm going to have to defend on the hard tyre against the laggy. That's all I can do for you as Eoin Esports team members.
Well, of course, when you said Alexander, I was thinking of Alex Laho for some reason. I thought, well, he'll use the softs later on, so he'll probably have less fuel and better track conditions, of course. But it's impressive pace from Pessi Mikkonen, but he's using a bit too much of the soft tyres too early here. We still got about 22 laps to go, so where you pit and go for the hards for those that have started on the softs could be crucial. Oh, Stefano has gone very deep. I think there might have been contact going into the Spitz curve hairpin there. And Stefano is now out of the points. Well, he's not gained a position in the points. Galka is still keeping it from him. Now he's got Francesconi all over the back of him too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Francesconi. The alarm bells are ringing now.
Those softs are dying.
Yeah, MS Performance. They're going to have to make the decision in tow with what Wesley's preferred strategy is. They're going to have to come up with something for him if they have to change tact. But Francesconi, he knows after missing out this part of the circuit resulted in a spin for him a little while ago. He knows points are still absolutely essential for him and the team. So he's got to get to work. And now those tires seem to be in good nick. Oh no, Stalacki's in trouble. Big trouble. Is he completely gone? May have disconnected here.
Oh, he's exploded.
He's blown up. He's blown up. A huge shunt in the first turn, the Nord curve. And he's completely and utterly demolished from this this race.
Yeah, that's very spectacular then. It was going so well for Alpha Sierra. All the hopes now rest on Pessi Mikkonen then. So Sislagi on the hard, over the curb. It's the things that get... Oh, it just twitches on him. And he goes rear first into the barrier. Sadly, that's where the gearbox and engine is. And they decide to ignite on contact there. As we also saw, I think, Soponen. Did Soponen go into the pits then to change from soft to hard tyres on lap 11? So that's about the sort of roughly where he expected them to start pitting then. So Juho, I think, is the first of our soft tyre runners to pit. So he's going to try and go for the undercut here and hope that he can keep the hards alive all the way to the end. I think there's more drama in Sector 2. So I think, is that Francesconi now in the bottom end of the points because Stefano has had another spin?
Yeah, MS Performance have lost that chance to get points as of right now. Francesconi has +1 in his column now, and he's going to hope to double that very soon. Michel Galka is on his own at the moment. He's going to catch up to Riccardo Bassani as soon as possible, just to make it somewhat realistic for him. And there's Riboli in the overpower, working away in P12. He's got a fair ways to catch up to Samuel Fisher. Yeah, definitely Francesconi has the confidence to attack drivers once again. So with the 1 point he's got, he's going to hope the majority of these drivers can be beaten on pure strategy. He's gone down the inside. Bit of a wiggle there. The front tire's not quite gripping as he would have liked, and that means the overtake has not occurred just yet. An opportunity coming into Mercedes curve in just a matter of time. He's too far back on this occasion, Ed.
Yeah, he can't really afford to bin it fighting Galka here, who's really got to pick his moment, of course. He's got to extend this stint on the hards as well, so he'll be going in for the soft a bit later on. But yeah, it's interesting that hard and soft tire alike have really struggled to sort of just stay out of trouble and stop the temperatures from skyrocketing and the car spinning out, essentially, especially over the curbs. But the interesting thing now is when do Gazowski, Flack and Mikkonen pit in here off of the softs and go for the hard tires there. As there's Flack, still within DRS of Gazowski, but they're both, of course, 4.9 seconds behind the two leaders who are now really coming into their own. Rozak sets a 1 minute 20.2 last lap round, just a tenth quicker than Laho, but Laho's got the gap to 1.4 seconds. So it is going to be difficult then for Patrick Rozak to do very much about it. Now he's outside of DRS range, unless he's got some sort of strategy play, maybe pitting for the softs a lap or two earlier could be to his benefit here. But yeah, Gazowski, Flack, Hatch and Mikkonen are all fighting each other for third then. So Che Hatch will no get the track position back once the two ahead pit, but are they going to get an undercut on him as a result, and can he gain the time back when he goes for softs later on?
Yeah, that's a great mystery to see how the soft tires behave for drivers who have to be aggressive with the undercut attempt. They will eventually lose that advantage towards the end of the
Gazowski in.
Feature race. And yeah, there's Gazowski. He's made the big move here for Emil Hummingbird, and they will appreciate any data they can receive from Matthias here to help Patrick Roszak's chances. Will the switch to hard tires help him out on his own sake? But yeah, he'll want to pass on how those softs behaved at the beginning of the race on high fuel. So if there's any opportunity for a reduced fuel load and the soft tires can give Patrick an extra boost, then yeah, he'll want to tell the team about it.
Yeah, Wesley Stefano also taking this moment to pit for fresh tyres. Of course, he did have those spins, but he knew he had to get a bit of stint life to just under halfway through the race to make his strategy work. Frank Hamming now is going for Ragozza up the inside of the Spitz curve hairpin, but he's gone a bit too wide on the exit. Couldn't get it slowed down in time, and that has allowed the 0-1 to maintain that sixth position. But Frank Hamming, we've seen him fight his way through the pack before. He's alongside into Mercedes-Benz Arena, trying to go up the inside. That could, of course, become the outside for the next corner as they still go side by side. It's Hamming going all the way around the outside and completely moved. Very bold from the Dutchman there.
Yeah, it was bold, but it was also very, very courageous with the calmness as well. He had all the attributes needed to pull that one off, and he's pulled clear from Ragozza in short order there. We'll see the lap times. Very much evident in a moment here to show Hamming's time, 1:20.8. And Ragozza may have been clipped for track limits there. He didn't get a show of the lap time on RaceView. And Tylene, we'll see if Ragozza does. Oh, he does react poorly there. The turn 2 entry. Going from understeer into an immediate oversteer moment, and that loss of a few kilometers an hour is going to be so helpful for Tylene. He's pretty much got the move done already, Ed.
Yeah, there we go. So Ragozza very much opened the door with that error. So easy to do when you're so desperate to get on the power. It's so crucial to get a good exit out of 4 as you go through the long parabolica that sets up the hairpin. As Ragozza also does a bit of grass cutting on the exit there. So maybe just really starting to struggle at this phase of the race as we now cut back to Francesconi, who's trying to fight Massimiliano Riboli for P13. Ribbley himself is trying to stick with Galka. Galka's actually had a decent fight back in this race, isn't he? He's right behind Busani now, trying to fight for P11 here. So, of course, Emerald Hummingbird, both of their drivers looking to finish in the top 4 here, which could be bad news for Bodal. But Gazowski, of course, having pit as early as he has, is now 17th on the road, about a second and a half behind Hargitai, who's not quite starting to hold him up just yet. Mikkonen now is in, so it's Flack of our leading soft runners that's going the longest. But Francesconi, you can sense here, getting a bit held up by Ribbley, but not quite able to get enough overlap to complete the move, as Mikkonen is finally going to put on the hard tyres and do his next stint. Hopefully that will update on the reds will turn to yellow, you see on the front of those tyres soon.
Yeah, it's just one of those small little visual quirks with R Factor 2. But there's Chehatch back down the inside on Flack, but he's gone a little bit too deep. But he's actually pulled it off, even with that overestimation of the car's braking ability. He has given Flack a significant counter punch, and he has his place on the podium restored. But Flack won't take that lying down. With the soft tires about to expire, of course. So yeah, in fairness, this race will be far from over, but Chehatch on soft tires in his second stint should have the impetus later on. But yeah, Scott Flack, I think that's the signal to come in for the pits.
I agree. It often feels to me like Scott Flack is usually in race 1. He's rehearsing how long he can get the tyres to last to test whether he should use them in race 2 or not. But yeah, as we see, a little bit of gravel cutting, but not too bad. We've seen a lot of drivers do that as well. So Flack into the pits. Let's see where his opposition is at the moment. So Gazowski is P16 behind Heljanovic, and where is the Mikkonen P17 behind him.
Yeah, we got to watch out for Pessi. Here he is, start
more
finish
stops
straight.
As well. Looks like, is that Cardas in again? And Galka too. So Gary 82, both cars in the pits.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is Cardas' first stop.
Yeah.
Because he was having such a difficult first stint and fell to the lower end of the top 10. That confused me a bit. Gazowski though, undercut up to Heljanovic on the fresh hard tyres. This should be a straightforward move, but Heljanovic will get a little bit of slipstream from the car ahead, which is Hargitai. So Gazowski to the outside, always getting blocked here by the Team Iris car, but he's able to thread his way clean around the outside there. That's an impressive move there, even on the fresher tyres. Can he complete it then? He's going to try and get the inside for Mercedes-Benz Arena. Heljanovic will have to concede, albeit reluctantly there. So Gazowski making good progress here. And of course, he's ahead of Scott Flack. You can tell still getting the hards up to temperature, but Flack, crucially, is still ahead of Pessi Mikkonen, who could not get ahead despite the undercut.
No, I'm afraid it wasn't quite the magical undercut for Mikkonen this time. But in fairness, you can see Scott Flack very much growing in his eye line. Hamming and Ragosa are each in the pits now, so they will fall behind these guys, I'd expect. Will be close. There we go, on with the tire change. And yeah, long hold there for both, but they're now released. There they go. There we have it. They're going to be just outside the points, I think, if Cardas catch up. Here comes Damien. Yeah, there he goes. Returning to the points there is Cardas. But Frank Hamming maintains 14th, so he is about 3.5 seconds behind Mikkonen at the moment. That should eventually neutralise, as Hamming will soon be back to full pace.
This is an interesting strategy from Gary 82, because they have both gone hards to softs. They've got to do quite a number of laps on the soft tyre here. So, yeah, this will be interesting if you're Patrick Rozak thinking about the undercut, seeing what Gary 82, his fellow countrymen, are doing. So, well, is he going to follow suit, or Emerald Hummingbird going to try and do what Alex Laho is doing? But, yeah, we are starting to see our hard tyre runners switch to the softs at this point in the race. So, Cardas is the leading of those runners. As you can see, still ahead of Ragosa. And he's got the better tyre compound to use in this particular situation. But he's got to make them last a long way, as in comes Chehatch now from third place. He is going to put his soft tyres on as well. So Laho will be eagerly awaiting that information. Francesconi too visits the pit lane.
Yeah, this is the chance for Che to rebound and give Scott Flack the signal that, I'm going to get the job done here. Francesconi and Riboli are in. Janovic in the ultimate background there, the furthest background he's in. So they're going to have to work their way back in to the points as other drivers like Fisher and Bassani for Bodle. They've gone very long in that clash to enter the top 15. Hargatai going long. So yeah, the need to worry shouldn't affect these drivers too much. But yeah, they've got to be very focused. But now Flack, he knows there won't be many opportunities to outfox Hatch before the day is done with a much earlier pit stop. He's going to give it an honest go. And Shea Hatch has to be focused on what's behind him as much as the likes of Hargatai. He will catch up very soon. So yeah, a balancing act here as our leaders are both in the pit at the exact same time.
Yeah, Philip Koenig just sets another fastest lap out of nowhere, 119.735, but you can see there, Alex Lowe gets out just as Rozak is taken down off the jacks and released back into the race. So Lowe, as expected, still leading as Samuel Fisher, staying out as long as he has in the hard tyres, is going to emerge just behind him then, as that is Rozak, who will come out just ahead of Busani in the other Bodle. So both Fisher and Busani are running, as you say, very long on the hards, and it could be worth it if they think they're worried about tyre life on the softs and they want to try and breeze past people in the last 15, 14 laps or so. Depends when they pit, of course. But yeah, it definitely feels like a favoured strategy is actually go to the softs slightly earlier and then try and hold on to the tyres later in the race, as we're seeing the likes of Cardaz try and do here.
Of course, yeah. Damien Cardaz just looking
here
to
comes
return form, and Tylene down the inside. This will be Cardaz. Yeah, he's under the spot of bother. Should realise Ragosa wants to enter this fray as well, so he's got to be alert in the mirrors and alert in front. So yeah, good work from these three drivers. Philip Koenig sets a new fastest lap, the hometown hero, just giving something to cheer about there as he's lying 21st, way behind Menno Clont. But Wesley Stefano here, he's got Hargatai for company, and he's going to have to follow him for the last sector and then perhaps line up a move into either turn 1 or turn 2.
Yeah, Soppinen ahead of them has actually been quite clever because he's switched the hard. He was the first to go the hard, isn't he? So he's effectively undercut them. And if he's got good tyre life on the hard, he may be able to fend them off. And you never know, if something happens up ahead, Yuho might be able to sneak the final point out of this one. Che Hatch now steals the fastest lap on his set of hard tyres. But there we go. Patrick Rozak, I think, has just cleared Samuel Fisher for P2 there, and he needed to because Laho was getting away there. Yeah, you can see he's done it through the parabolica on the approach to the hairpin then. So Bodle have got to pick when to pit, but yeah, they know that the second number hummingbird of Gazowski is not far behind and surely going to catch them before too long there. The only two cars yet to pit the Bodles, and as we see, Ragotza is losing touch with Phylan, but he has got past Damien Cardas, if I'm not mistaken. So Phylan, since having his spin, has been absolutely on fire, hasn't he? As he sets another personal best sector of the race. But he is starting to catch Frank Hamming now for P9 here. And then there's Mikkonen, only about two seconds ahead of them then. So those on the older hard tyres could well see a bit of a threat from Lucas Phylan on those softs, leading the train in this final part of the race then, as Laho sets the fastest lap of the race predictably, getting the softs right into the operating window. Rozak does set a purple middle sector, but it's not quite enough to match. He's still about half a tenth off of what Laho's doing at the moment. So Laho has got everything in hand with 10 laps to go as Fisher does pit. So it's just Busani yet to be serviced.
Yeah, the longest holdout there is Bassani. So he'll know that the target will be to be 13th to 15th. Yeah, just stay in that sort of zone with his teammate. That should be his clear mission. But Che Hatch, after dispatching of Scott Flack, he'll feel once and for all he's got the chance to get the job done against the second Emerald Hummingbird, his direct rival, I suppose you could say, in terms of team pride. It's Gazowski for the podium place, effectively with Bassani. He will be dispatched very soon for the pit stop. So Che Hatch knows if he can beat Gazowski here, it certainly will change things depending on the reverse grid order, what number comes out between 6 and 10. But no doubt to pick up those extra couple of points would be fantastic for Che. And Gazowski, you know, this is effectively a sort of home race for him. He'll want to make sure he can entertain the fans from Poland and indeed the Emerald Hummingbird organization.
That was lucky for Gazowski there, because Busani went right into the pit lane. And of course, coming out of that penultimate corner, you do have to slow down to make the pit entry. So lucky Gazowski had enough time to sort of avoid him. But now he's got no one in front of him to slipstream. He's going to be very vulnerable to Jay Hatch here, as Busani's going to emerge behind his teammate Fisher and Galka too.
But he is exactly where he needs to be. Just pipped by Raboli there, but now Hatch with huge overspeed. He's already got 2 wheels ahead before he officially slams the brakes, and there's no mistake this time. He doesn't overshoot the corner. He got it absolutely nailed that time. The send was very accurate, but watch out for Gazowski. He's not going to hang about here if he senses there is a bit of complacency on the part of Che Hatch. But no, beautiful corner exit and a penalty for Soppinen there. He
track limits.
For track limits, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's how it has to be. But speaking of which, whoa, my goodness, he's making a new track there on the exit of Mobile 1. But yeah, Che Hatch just about gets under control. It's interesting because in a lot of FS2, I heard a lot of drivers complaining about the dirty air through Mobile 1 curve that they were washing out under it because they lost the front downforce. But there, despite getting through, it looked like Che Hatch was sort of understeered and oversteered off there. So, yeah, clearly, even the amount he's had to push, even his relatively fresh hards compared to Gazowski, are starting to be pushed to their limits here. 10-second gap, of course, to Rozak fighting away with his teammate Leho. So Rozak has fought back a little bit, gained a couple of attempts back, but the gap is still 3 seconds then. So I very much fear for Patrick Rozak. The damage has already been done since Leho got through earlier on. I think Fisher is back in the pits, as is Stefano. So a number of drivers being forced into unexpected stops here. What also happened was Mikkonen has been picked up by both Hamming and now Lucas Filin as well. So Filin still catching Hamming at a rate of knots and has got his sights set on that P6 there. As Mikkonen desperately trying to keep up with them on the hard tyres here, but he knows P8 might be the best he can get out of this one.
Might be. He's certainly going to give it up just yet. Oh, we've got trouble for Hatch!
Oh, no!
He spun it before the drag strip, and he's got to do a 5-point turn here. The car's turning circle not at all ready for that conundrum, and I'm afraid he's losing out significantly. So Gazowski's back on the podium, and poor Alche is out of the top 10 even. Yeah,
there we go. Done all the hard work. You can see the rear already starting to get away from me. He attempts to save it, and he hits the sausage curb exactly what we saw Filin do. The front nose does tap the wall, but luckily he seems to have mostly got away with that one in terms of damage, and he continues down in P11, and there is Yuho serving the drive-through penalty, but it looks like Che Hatch has returned to the pits as well. His softs have completely overheated, and could that be a danger for the rest of the field too, as Soppinen comes to a stop on the pit exit there, decides to call it a day. At least what race? We'll call it a race 1. But yeah, Che Hatch is going to struggle to get in the points now, as he's switching back to the hards there. That is bizarre. But either way, it gifts Gazowski the podium. So Emerald Hummingbird are looking for second and third. Their first ever double podium of the season here, unless Scott Flack or Frank Hamming or Lucas Filin have anything to say about it.
Exactly, yeah. There's still opportunity for more changes, particularly when it comes to the reverse grid draw positions. But Massimiliano Raboli looking for a strong result here. He's got Bassani for company, but at the moment Bassani has held that position. And yeah, he's got to be careful now. That's the tricky corner. We've seen it twice at least already, costing drivers a bit of time. But Bassani, he's got to see Hargatai coming in his mirrors as well. It's not just Massimiliano by himself. Oliver Hargatai is coming on strong himself. So these 3 drivers are going to be quite evenly matched. But Bassani, previous lap was very, very quick. So he'll see now if he can keep that up. Yeah, very, very consistent lap times, and he's broken clear. But here comes Hargatai.
Yeah, you would expect the Bodals on their fresher soft tyres to really start to chew through the pack here. So they sort of had to do something different as Hargatai goes really deep into, I think that's turn 3 there.
2 and 3.
Yeah, so that's going to allow Raboli a little bit of breathing space. But Hargatai, to his credit, he had an awful start to this race. Fell, I think, almost right to the very back at the first corner. And he's now in the last couple of points, paying positions, gets a great run, gets alongside Ribley. Ribley almost has to turn out of the corner because he realized the KKR appeared. So fantastic confidence from Oliver Hargitay on the brakes, and the Hungarian is now into P13. Ribley does get a decent exit here, though, but he's surely not thinking about diving up the inside. Hargitay now is going to try and follow Pisani and catch Michal Galka. Remember how early the Gallery 82s hit both of them in 9th and 11th. Could be vulnerable here. Francesconi's recovered from his own spin into P10, by the way. So he's actually done a great job to limit the damage for HTP. But his teammate Hamming is now only 9/10 away from 4th position, and he's got Filen all over the back of him. So there's a great P4 fight, maybe even P3 on the cards, if somebody can make the moves quickly here. So let's see if we can have a look at that battle, please, Mr. Director Man.
We're hearing the clicks and
nope, let's look at Ribley.
Actually, Riboli, he's gone a bit wide into North Curve. So not to be there, but hopefully we can see that battle. It's going to be down by the hairpin. Yeah, so 3 cars in contention for the podium place. If Gazowski gives it up involuntarily. But yeah, Hamming is in the middle. So that's where you have to be concentrating on all ends of his viewpoint. So yeah, watching out, see how the car performs through the left sequence there. And there we go through Mobile 1 curve very nicely indeed. Race leader sets the 5 laps remaining signal there. So he looks comfortable to secure yet another race 1 victory. But the doubt is sowing in the minds of Scott Flack that he's going to be very, very cautious to avoid any mistakes at this stage. But yeah, the soft tires will be very, very helpful towards the end. Flash of the yellow flags, but seems to be okay.
I think it was somebody in trouble near the back, because it looks like Fisher has lost out to Hatch and Clont then. So Che Hatch, incredibly, is only about, well, I say only about 13 seconds off the points, but he's only 1 position outside the points now, despite all the issues he's had in this race there. I was going to say, he put the fresh set of softs on, he set the fastest first sector of the races. Here comes Hamming, and this time through the Parabolica, he easily clears Scott Flack then, and gets into P4 then. So now it's a case of Filen knows he can't afford to get held up, as Hamming actually has a massive moment over the curbs on the Exodus Bits curve. Now towards Mercedes-Benz Arena they fly, and Filen is really going to be buzzing aggressively and needs to be careful not to tap the back of the overpower here. But yeah, you can tell Filen and Hamming both want a shot at Gazowski here, and this is where Mariusz Gazowski wants his first podium in at least 2 or 3 years. Then he is going to have to defend very, very well. Of course, he'll be grateful that Che Hatch spun out of that 3rd place and gifted it to him, but now he's got to fight to maintain it here.
Of course, yeah. And it might be a lap traffic perhaps. Oh no, there's 6543. Sorry, yeah, that's Hamming's.
It's Menno going in the pits, I think.
Yeah, Menno Clont is pitting. So I'm afraid that good sequence of positional gains has been undone there for Menno, so he's back out of the top 20. Just a hit and hope sort of strategy. Tylene, he's got the chance to challenge Flack at the very last moment. He knows how to win races at the very last lap, but today he'd be very grateful if he can get not only this P5 that he's just earned down the inside before the breaking point, but if he can take on Frank Hamming 1v1 and get that extra few points as well, that'd be excellent. And the move for Ragoza has been completed there, so Pesci has dropped down, but it's not over yet, Ed.
Yeah, here we go. Mikkonen is not going to take it particularly happily, is he? But he may have to then, as further on, this is Michael Francesconi diving up the inside of Cardass, very, very deep into the Mercedes-Benz Arena complex. Cardass trying to hold on, round the outside, and he still ties, and he touches Francesconi, and Francesconi's around for the 2nd time in this race. And that time, though, no fault of his own, as here comes Galka and Busani, who are going to go around the outside of him there. So Francesconi is still in the race, still in the points. That could have been a lot more costly for the HGP man, as we see Hargitay himself pushing like crazy and deciding to do a bit of lawnmower racing as well.
Oh, goodness gracious, that's a huge turn, and it knocks Francesconi out of a reverse grid position. Of course, if you get 6 through 9, then you're not going to see any benefit as a 10th.
Look at that switch from Filen. Yeah. He's really pushing to try and catch Hamming and Gazowski here. Might have to run.
This is so vital He has a chance, but he'll pick the outside line. Guzowski does his best to put him off, make sure he's nowhere near that apex. But if anything, Thailand could try to have a shot at the gotten gains at the moment. No overtake, please, is certainly someone else's message, but certainly Frank Hannon will be begging in no uncertain terms to make sure he's left alone. Oh! Then he's been tagged off, and Thailand gets the double.
There we go.
He goes.
It was starting to get really aggressive. You could tell Guzowski was willing to do whatever it took to hold on at the podium as Frank Hamming loses out to Scott Flack again. Then Flack trying to hold on as they try to go side by side through the Sachs curve. That's not something you see usually here at Hockenheim then, unless it's raining. But yeah, there we go. Frank Hamming very much the loser of that battle, as is Guzowski. So Guzowski was not willing to give up. Hamming was getting aggressive, diving up the inside into Mercedes-Benz Arena. And I think Guzowski thought the rear tyre was clear of Hamming's car when it wasn't quite there, and that's led to disaster for both of them. But joy for Filin. That opened up like the Red Sea.
Of course, yeah, we're going to get a very close look now at the...
he's taking the racing line, Guzowski.
Yes, yeah, he's trying his best to stay on the racing line, because they're just going to understeer if you go 9 on the inside, and then 10 you're just going to pop out on the very edge of the track, so that would have been dangerous too. So it's a racing incident for my 2 cents anyway. But now Hamming and Flack will meet again here at the very, very end of the race. And for Flack's benefit, he would love to be back in the top 5 after his earlier escapades, the likes of Hatch. But Galka and Francesconi are triggering on the leaderboard there, and Hargatai, he's up a place, but it's Galka's without his front wing. So there's big trouble. So people in the YouTube chat said Menno Clont had caused some trouble, which made him come back into the pits. Here's Galka defending the inside line. Oh, there's the contact. He's going to hit the wall heavily. Oh, that'd be...
so lucky he didn't skate back into... I think that must have been Francesconi, wasn't it, he was fighting with? Yeah. But, yeah, that's a disappointment for Galka, as this is what happened to Menno's already pushing it out the final corner. And surely, yeah, something's about to go wrong into turn 1, I fear. Yeah, all over the curbs. Gets a wiggle on, and bang! That's surely his day done then. There's a rear tyre missing on that car, along with a couple of wings. But yeah, what I was about to say, Lucas Filin spun to P11 early in this race. Now he's P3 with the brilliant fight back he's put together. But yeah, there's no doubt about who the win is going to belong to, though. This man, for the 10th time, race 1 is going to go to Alex Laho then. His teammate might just be able to sneak the final point from Michel Galka, who's got no option but to continue without that front wing. But he's surely going to be caught at a rate of knots here. But out the final 2 corners through Sudcurve for the final time comes Alex Laho. Well, for the 10th time this season, it's race 1 that goes neatly into Laho's pocket and puts him 1 step closer to the title. Boruzak will take second, but the lead in the championship is going to be close on nearly 100 points now for Laho. And it's this man, Filin, who's going to put together a brilliant comeback to secure P3 here to round out the podium. Brilliant stuff for the KKR man.
Oh yeah, that is one of the stellar drives of his fantastic career for Lucas Thailand there. So well done to recover. James Knox in the YouTube chat made that point. So very, very impressive work there for Thailand to recover from a spin and make it onto the podium. I know certainly Che Hatch will feel that was my opportunity. Guzowski will feel like that was my opportunity, but I'm afraid for both of them it was Thailand's chance to shine, and he took it with everything he had. But yeah, respect among our championship protagonists there as Thailand joins in on the fun.
I think Hatch just stole the final point from Galka on the run to the line there. Wow. It was like, so in the background there, it was very close. But yeah, there we go. He was gaining, in the last sector alone, he gained 4 seconds. So that's the difference between having a front wing and not having a front wing. But yeah, there we go. A lot of big stories in that one. Of course, Guzowski and Hamming getting a bit overheated. Filin this comeback to P3. Mikkonen getting his best result so far. Ragota equaling his best result of the season too. And Busani on debut P10. So yeah, certainly a lot to celebrate here. But let's go through the final results in full. Alex Lowe, after 33 laps, takes victory once again this season. So that's got to be his, I think, 14th win of the 13th or 14th win of the season. by my reckoning. I think it's 13th in total, but his 10th race 1 win over Patrick Rozak, who's been second to Laho, I believe, about 6 times now this season. Lucas Tylen takes his first podium since Australia, right at the start of the season, so it came at a very opportune time there. Matis Gazowski gets his best result this season so far in P4, but it could have been P3 if not for that contact with Hamming, potentially. But Hamming nonetheless will bank P5 for HGP. Scott Flack is there or thereabouts in P6. Alexander Ragoto sort of best of the rest in P7 for 0-1. And then Pessi Mikkonen, aggressive strategy, held on to P8 in the end to beat Damien Cardas, who was similarly aggressive on his early switch to the softs. Riccardo Pisani switched to the softs very, very late though, and made a charge to P10. So first points of the season for Pisani. Francesconi with a couple of spins, bit of contact, wasn't always within his control or his fault, but that's P11 for the Italian. Oliver Hargitai in the second KKR recovers from the back of the grid, P12. Antonio Heljanovic gets some crucial points for Team Iris on a day that Emerald Hummingbird, their main rivals, scored big. Or Alpha Sierra, their main rivals, scored with a Mikkonen, I should say. Massimiliano Riboli for Overpower takes P14, a couple of points go to him. And Che Hatch dramatically steals the final points paying position by, I think it was about 5 seconds in the end, but it was definitely in that final sector that Hatch got through. And Michael Galka then will just miss out with that late crash, robbing him of his front wing with the contact with Francesconi. Samuel Fisher also missed out on the points with an issue for him. Wesley Stefano, he had his fair share of issues. He was P18. Philip Koenig set the fastest lap a couple of times, but could only finish P19. Persis Miram rounds out the top 20 in the second, 0-1. And then, well, Menno Klont could not get to the end, and neither could Juho Soppinen or Mark Saslagi then. So dramatic retirements for those three to round out the field then. But wow, certainly an incident-packed race number 1. We're going to go on a short ad break, the other side of which we'll get to see our reverse grid race 2. Somebody between 6th and 10th will start on reverse grid pole position. We anxiously to wait to find out who it's going to be. But let's go on break now and celebrate another Alex Laho race 1 victory.
Inside a place of on the next
pretzels, Kelty seat, the coffee beanery, Tyrek.
Flat out. Oh no! Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen. Oh, it's going to be a touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, this is a carnage.
And Menno Klont's going to win.
It's a double pass. Could they take each other off? They don't. And Flack slide. It's a victory for the Tuties.
They touch. They're now. Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through. Does it go uphill into turn 4? Oh, and round the outside. What a fabulous move.
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's going to get it. We're going 3-wide. Look at Tyne. Contact. Oh, my goodness. Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out.
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
Welcome back to the Hockenheimring for round 11 of the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 GPVWC Championship. My name is still Edward Hunter. Alongside me, as before in race 1, it is Eoin Harmon and Fabian Jungbluth joining us in broadcast direction then. So this 4.574 kilometer circuit calls to us again, and it is 11 laps less in this second race of the evening. Nonetheless difficult because everybody's going to try and get to the end on one set of tyres. Will everybody go for the hards, or will a couple of brave drivers risk it on the softs potentially? We did see a number of drivers desperately trying to stretch out the softs for as long as they could. I think it's Scott Flack did about 19 laps or so. So in theory, it's possible as we see. This looks like, is that Laho or Che Hatch racing around behind one of the Bodal cars with Yo Soppinen all over the back of him. So certainly trying to put on a show. As now Soppinen fancies to go out to Bodal. I'm assuming this is Laho, Fisher, Soppinen all fighting each other then. Oh, and
yeah,
I think one of the Team Iris cars probably Heljanovic as well. And it looks like Laho and Fisher on the soft is, oh my goodness me, that's late on the brakes from Fisher, who's about to get rotated by Heljanovic if he's not careful there. And after all the contact we saw in the end of the first race, particularly in that battle for third place, I think race 2 could threaten to be more of the same if this is any indication. Laho's certainly not holding back.
No, absolutely not. But good news for Bodal, because number 10 has appeared in the reverse grid draw, and that allows the pole to go to Bassani. So that is absolutely incredible for him. So Bassani is in control of race 2 grid proceedings. So yeah, well done to Ricardo for that 10th place in our feature race, and he'll get to go from the top spot in the sprint.
And conversely, of course, it's the worst possible news for Alex Laho, because it's the highest reverse grid it could have been, because it's between 6th to 10th, of course. So that puts Laho down in 10th position, of course, and it gives him an awful lot of work to do. Although this is a circuit you can overtake. It's not going to be like Hungary, where we saw he got up to 5th or 6th in the opening laps and then just sort of stayed there because nobody could get past anybody, sadly. So yeah, of course, it means we're going to see Damien Cardas on the front row, Pessi Mikkonen and Alexander Ragozza on the second row as well. So could be a lot of less fancy drivers that take advantage of their situation. And well, I wonder which of them might be brave enough to risk it on the softs here. I bet Scott Flack, who's going to be starting P5 on the grid, he'll certainly think about it, given that it seemed to be the tyre he loved stretching out the most in that first stint. And then maybe even the likes of Laho and Rozak might risk it to get the advantage over one another. Rozak, of course, desperate to try and arrest the slide with the, of course, I think it's another. The difference between first and second is, I think, about 5 points, isn't it, in race 1s? So I think the gap's now 96 points between Laho and Rozak then. So just for pride, I think Rozak wants to keep it under 100 points for as long as he can, if at all possible.
Yeah, that'll be the key, just to make sure there's a comfortable gap. But Asier Tasiki has appeared here, and he's not leaving anything to chance here with the fast lap so far of a 119.2. So Asia coming along as a very late call up here for just race 2. But as always, it's more the merrier, in my opinion. So yeah, and Sofian Amara as well has come in for MS Performance here. We will have more cars and different drivers between our 2 races. So yeah, very interesting developments.
Well, that completes both MS Performance and CM Tech Racing's lineups for tonight. Then it's a shame we couldn't get them in race 1, but as you say, very grateful to see them in action in race 2. But both of them will either be starting from the pit lane or more likely the very back of the grid then. And Tasiski did actually do very well in the reverse grid race in FS2, where he got to P5 from reverse grid pole position. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Tazir does this time, because he's got to do the exact opposite of that, as we see the MS Performance of Amara Sofian just come to a complete stop there, as somebody has left the car in several pieces before the first corner. As Persis Miriam looks at it sort of forlornly. It's a little bit like when like you're trying to feed a cat and they come upon like a destroyed cardboard box or something that they've smashed up early, and they're like, "Oh, who did this?" But yeah, I don't own a cat, and you can probably tell from that description alone. But anyway, yeah. Ziski, it's no wonder he's been practicing so much in this warm-up, because he's got no reference points to really build on at all, other than what he did in the completely different FS2 car back on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. So checker flag is now out, and Tylene will attempt to set a time, and it goes to the bottom of the order. Yeah, he's not really gone for a full run there. He's just pushing at the end of the lap, and yeah, 12 times have been set. And he's going to throw it into the barrier. Oh, goodness gracious.
I was surprised if he made that corner. But Omari Watson has written in the chat some words of wisdom. He says, well done, Phylon, in race 1. And he also says, both tyres can make the whole distance in race 2, but the hards are the better race tyre here. So, well, that's Omari's thing. So if you are Riccardo Busani, you're probably going to be putting the hards on now, I think, or at least contemplating it then. But as we shift over and the warm-up session ends, we are getting ready for race 2 then. The second time today, and it's Bodal's Riccardo Busani that will start from the very top. Alex Lahoe with it all to do in 10th position. You can bet top dollar, though, that him and Patrick Rosa are going to have a great fight through the order as I try and elongate my words as much as possible and waiting for the server to tick over. But while we're doing that, let's go to a quick bumper, on the other side of which a magnificent, brilliant, excellent, no doubt enthralling race 2 is coming your way. Don't go anywhere. All right, well, there we go. The situation is exactly the same as it was before we left. The warm-up server still yet to tick over to the race session. So, I guess that gives us more time to talk then. We saw, as well as a brilliant comeback drive from Lucas Phylon, a best ever result P8 for Pessi Mikkonen then. We did see, of course, it was a Ragozza that passed him right near the end there. But a very, very assured performance from the Finn then. And especially after his difficult time at the Hungaroring 2 weeks ago, I think a lot of people will be happy for Mikkonen there.
Oh, yeah, I certainly feel the same about him for sure there. To drive as magnificently as that, just 2 weeks after a very just frustrating and difficult double DNF. That's a quality character if ever I've seen one. So, yeah. The applaud should go to Pessi among all of our other drivers who have done a great job picking up the lion's share of the points. So, yeah, Pessi will hopefully keep that good work up and impress us for the second time before the summer break kicks in.
Indeed, then. So, Mikkonen hoping to become a regular fixture in Formula Sprint 1. I think Fabian is trying to signal to me that he wants to do the bumper again. So let's give it a second go as we wait for the grid to populate. Race 2 will get underway any minute soon. There we go then. The grid is forming up, and you can see it's going to be Busani and Cardaz. An unusual front row, but this is the sort of grid that reverse grids can form up. And Busani, of course, after a very, very assured drive to P10 there, has now got a brilliant chance to score even more points. But yeah, I think surviving these first couple of laps is going to be the crucial thing, Eoin, because especially with the 2 extra cars on the grill, in theory 2 extra, I think we may have lost 2 and gained 2 because I'm still seeing 23 cars out there. But yeah, it's going to be Busani that leads the pack away then. So let's go through the grid order for this reverse grid encounter then. It is Riccardo Busani for the first time on reverse grid pole positions. Demi Cardaz alongside him. Pessi Mikkonen and Alexander Ragozza make up row 2. On row 3, it is overpowers Scott Flack, just ahead of the HGP of Frank Hamming. Row 4 is Matis Gazowski and the late charging Lucas Violin from race 1. Third in race 1, of course. Row 5, it is Patrick Rozak and Alex Laho, the furthest back. We've seen Laho start in a while in reverse grid. Michael Francesconi and Antonio Heljanovic make up row 6. On row 7, it's Massimiliano Riboli, joined by Che Hatch of his later improvement there. Michel Galka and Samuel Fischer make up row 8. On row 9, it's Germany's Philipp Koenig, just ahead of Perseus Miram. Then on row 10, it's Menno Klont, just ahead of Jo Soppanen in the Excelia. Row 11 is Mark Sislagi, joined by Asir Tisiski, who joins having missed the first race. Also missing the first race, joining the back is MS Performance's Sofian Amara. Of course, Amara, a regular academy driver then, so this is a big leap into the unknown for Sofian. I think does have a little bit of experience into the FS2 level, but not a whole lot to draw upon, so this could be a bit of a baptism of fire for him then. But Tisiski, of course, will hope to show what he's made of and make his way up the order, at least to beat Menno Klont, who's only a few places ahead of him then. But what do you think, Eoin? A lot of chaos in store then as Bassani is about to round the last couple of corners and grid up.
Yeah, I mean, positions 1 through 4, they've got absolutely nothing to lose and everything's against, so they'll be pushing to defend with all they've got. Scott Flack is kind of in that middle spot. He's got the experience of winning these kind of races, but he doesn't want to mess up and cost himself some points. But then, as you said, some of our newcomers in the cockpit, they've
It's Amara going.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a wide one there. But yeah, just Murray Watson, he's appeared in our YouTube chat and he says both tyres can complete the distance of 22 laps, but the hard tyre is the better race tyre. So take it away.
Here we go. 2 lights, 3, 4, and then a 5th. And we're underway here for the second time at the Hockenheimring, and it's a good start for Cardaz, who gets just a couple of wheels alongside Pisani. Pisani will surely stick it in around the outside, goes well over the curb, as indeed does Patrick Rozak there, who has been able to stay ahead of Alex Laho, at least for the time being, and is Pisani that holds the lead on the run into turns 2 and 3 as they shuffle into 4. A little bit of bumping and barging here and there as that's Laho trying to go around the outside of Rozak. We're going 3 wide then. My goodness, Rozak, Francesconi and Laho do a sort of ring of death around each other on the run through the Parabolica, but now Cardaz is going around the outside trying to steal the lead from Pisani. Will Pisani hold on, or will he be hoodwinked as they try and go 3 and 4 wide? A bit of contact, and I think is that Laho, or was that Che Hatch's teammate that got into a bit of contact there? I think Laho down to P10.
On the very inside, might have made a bit of contact.
Oh, Cardaz steals the lead.
Yeah, he's ahead of...
Oh,
we got trouble. Big
that's
trouble.
Fisher in the background. I think that spun and won the Team Iris cars as well. I think that's Koenig. Indeed, it is.
Aggression is full display at the moment. Everybody needs to make up places. But there we go. Fisher and Koenig come out the worst there.
Yeah, but look at this. Frank Hamming on the softs has gone from, I think, P7 on the grid all the way up to P3 ahead of Ragozza, ahead of Mikkonen. And now he's in a great position to chase down Pisani and Carter. So Frank Hamming has done this before in reverse grids, where he's used the soft. He's really aggressive over the curb there, so he cannot leave anything to chance. Amazing. Well, he's actually not. It's actually Brusani was the fastest in the first sector, and then Carter's dominating the final 2. As we see Rozak going side by side with, I believe that is Scott Flack there, who just has to back out. And now Flack is at the mercy of Alex Laho, still down in P10, where he started, though. So it's Rozak now that's making the move, and Laho's trying to follow him. Flack is late on the brakes. They all do well not to just wipe out the row in front of them. Rozak goes wide and bumps into Laho, who bumps into Francesconi. So those 3 just cannot leave each other alone at the moment.
Oh, look at that. That's just minimal, or millimeters in the distance between those 2 cars and their tires, millimeters.
Oh, Hamming attacking Pisani for P2 ahead of this lot, as we see there's just enough space there left between Laho and Rozak, as Hamming is all over the back of the Bodal and going round the outside at Sachs curve. Surely he's going to be shown the door and pushed off here. Pisani leaves just enough room, but no more than absolutely necessary, and all this is allowing Ragozza on the hard tyre to get back into play. 0-1 yet to taste the podium this season. How dearly Ragozza would love to change that here, but he needs Frank Hamming to just blow through his soft tires or just struggle to pass Busani here. Busani doing a great job, and it's allowing Cardas to disappear into the distance. Garrett 82, another team that's finished on the podium this season, but is yet to take a win. And look at this, Frank Hamming knows that he has got a brilliant chance here, but he has to outfox Busani, who's got, as you say, nothing to lose.
Of course, yeah, and Frank Hamming, he has the opportunity. Yeah,
he's
and
through already.
Already, yeah, the soft tires even optimal for straight line speed. Oh, there's more hairpin shenanigans between Scott Flack and Pessy Mikkonen, sorry. There we go. Thankfully, everyone's all right. But yeah, that will be a message from Mikkonen to say, yeah, I'm not going to be an easy sort of character to overtake today. I want these points again. That would mean
look at this. He's not done yet, Eoin. Around the outside. As they go to Mobile 1, he's got the overlap. Flack will just dive up the inside and hold on to that position there. So aggressive stuff from Scott Flack. And Laho is now just having to watch the fireworks. He is ahead of Rozak now, of course. But so his main championship rival is behind him. But Laho would have been hoping to make a progress. A little mistake at the final corner, and Rozak is thinking, if only this happened in race 1, I would have had a much better chance of winning. But he's alongside into turn 1. Laho's got to be sensible here. Surely he'll back out. No, he won't. They nearly lock wheels, and somehow Laho emerges ahead there. But Rozak was leaving nothing to chance, and now here comes Francesconi. He wants to make friends with them again. By make friends, I mean bump into them.
Yeah, the sort of tap on the shoulder saying, yeah, hello. But the politeness is not going to last forever here, because look at Francesco!
Oh, no, and he takes out Laho! Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
And surely Alex is out there. Both front and rear wings gone then. Yellow's in sector 2. And yeah, the timing screen is going absolutely mental. And Laho will be furious with that. That was a needless collision with Francesconi with the DRS open. A little miscommunication, minor contact, and disastrous consequences for Laho. Well, we can forget about that 100-point championship buffer now, can't we?
We can. That's the end of it. But you'll see now Francesconi with the double slipstream. He's going to adjust for the second time, and the front end grip has lost all communication there with the tarmac, and Laho was completely unaware of what was happening. So we'll see now. The rear wing is open. There's the adjustment. Yeah, you can't do a thing about that. That is innocent.
Oh, everybody else did so well to avoid both of them. Particularly when Francesconi was sideways there, but he will be kicking himself for that one. I think neither of them is going to be happy with the outcome of that one. Patrick Rosette will be laughing all the way to the bank now. Now you can see here his teammate Gazowski all over the back of Ragotza then. So Hamming has cleared Busani for P2 and is now starting to chase down Cardes, was 3/10 lap quicker than the hard shod race leader then. The next soft tire run is actually Ribbley now in P11, and it's Tsiski from the very back, near the back of the grid. He's up to P13 for CM Tech. So the man who's 5th in the reverse grid race in FS2 has had a great start to this one, and in fact, he's actually just passed Ribbley. He's made a big mistake as while this is going on. Look at this, Busani trying to get back ahead of Gazowski, but getting all out of shape there. Now Filin is going to fancy a run at him as well, but that nearly went completely sideways on him.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be mindful of how the cars operate on the lower fuel from the get-go, and you can see there that was moment there for Tsiski, but Che Hatch didn't have to be that close to him, so yeah, he's perfectly okay. But yeah, it's Team Here Performance's sole remaining car. Alex just explains in the chat how he's feeling, so yeah,
not happy, I imagine.
Very upset, yes, very upset.
But either way, then Che Hatch was lucky to survive. In fact, he was lucky to survive that hit with the inside curb just now, but he had a massive tank slapper on the first lap as well, but everyone was going side by side through the hairpin. As you can see, Gazowski sets the fastest first sector of the race in the slipstream of Ragotza, trying to steal that final spot on the podium. Filin, though, now it's his turn to pick up Busani. Gets through. There's a yellow in the first sector. Didn't quite see who was in trouble there. Ragotza, hitting the outside of Gazowski. Gazowski trying for the second race in a row to finish on the podium, but Ragotza is not going to make it easy for him. The two green and black cars side by side then as they go to Mercedes-Benz Arena. It's Ragotza with the inside. One pole versus another, and Ragotza squeezes out Gazowski and holds on to that third position, much to the delight of 0-1, as Frankham, you can see, is closing to 3/10 a lap on Cardas at the moment, And he needs to do it now because as we get deeper and deeper into this race, the softs are only going to start to lose more and more wear, as I think Miriam in trouble.
Yeah, it is. We're going to have to double check if that's a complete and utter failure
that's
or
Soppinen in trouble as well.
So something has happened to Juho Soppinen.
I think he's hit that sausage curb, hasn't he? Because the steering's gone and so's the front wing.
Yeah, he's going to have to wait his turn, though. That's not quite the clever corner cut you think it is. He's just waiting for everybody to clear out. So let's witness what happened. We're looking at Francesconi first.
And Michael Francesconi has retired from the race after his collision with Laho earlier. Yeah. Over the curb, he was pushing too hard to make up lost ground and went backwards into the wall there. Looked like the car was visually undamaged, but maybe the steering took a whack, or Francesconi's just decided there's nothing more to be gained in this race other than more wounded pride and a wounded car. Soppinen then fighting with Miriam. Oh, he gets hit in the back, and Fischer in the back was just a voice. So Miriam just completely didn't quite get the braking right there, and Soppinen also hits Miriam in almost retaliation there. So
yeah, that
I think a bit of a red miss moment for Juho, unfortunately, I have to say.
Yeah, well, that camera angle might not tell us the whole story, but yeah, that will have to be reported straight away at the end of the proceedings. So yeah, we'd have to study that one much closer to make sure if that was retaliation, then yeah, that is a serious faux pas, and it shouldn't be tolerated.
Yeah, there's certainly, was on board one of my drivers in the FS2 race on Tuesday, and there was certainly a couple of drivers that later the track they said some things that I can't repeat on stream, but would make a vicar blush, I can tell you. But yeah, certainly saying things about other drivers in the privacy of your own little stream with the team manager is fine, but I think maybe when it becomes physical and when it also leads into incidents outside of the race as well, but that's sort of where we want to draw the line, prevent that sort of thing from happening then. But anyway, still 20 drivers left in the race, 15 of whom will score points. Heljanovic, the final point scorer at the moment, holding off Menno Kont as we look at Gazowski, who is now trying to fend off Eoin, who is looking for another podium, but he's also trying to clear Ragozza for third, so he's not giving up on that ambition. Frank Hamming, by the way, exactly a second behind Damien Cardas. And Hamming has definitely got the time to catch, he's got the pace to catch, but as we say, he's gone from gaining 0.3 per lap to maybe 1.5 per lap at the moment. So Cardas is doing enough, I think, if he can maybe stop Hamming from getting DRS to hold on to this win here. And Garrett too desperately need it after some of the bad luck they've had this season. So I think a lot of people will be cheering Cardas, who's 11th in the championship at the moment, trying to get ahead of Che Hatch. And Hatch, still down in P11, is doing a great job. He's right behind Sisiski, I think, who's gone from the back of the grid to P10 then. So as we see yellows in sector 2, Hamming using a lot of the curb on the outside on entry. I think he's trying to conserve these softs for later on. Frank Hamming, he's so good at this. We've seen it in race 2s in the past where he's gambled on the softs, got into the lead, and then had to defend against the training cars as the softs decay all around him. He's been able to keep his head and had just enough to hold on to decent positions, sometimes even the win then.
Yeah, he has that great knowledge of how to win these kind of races, but with halfway.
Here comes Gazowski.
Yeah, go ahead with the pass. Bit of contact, but it's all fair. Ragozza just minding his own business, I suppose, just trying to follow the corner. But it is a great overtake for Mateusz Gazowski. Ragozza doesn't want to repeat what we saw earlier on, and thankfully I think he has backed off as much as he can. So there's no repeat of what we saw with Perseus and Juho.
Yeah, there we go. So it was a bit of a dive from Gazowski, but he had just enough overlap and just enough pressure on the brake to make sure he didn't fly outside the track. He was able to complete the move fairly, and Ragozza deciding he's got a better chance of maybe tucking him behind and trying to strike back against his fellow countryman. But this is a good little fight for P3. Of course, the longer it ranges on, if Frank Hamming does indeed have his soft tires fall off a cliff, then it's good. They're both going to want to be the first one in the queue, but the more they fight each other, the further behind they fall. And they've still got to worry about Lucas Tynan as well, who has got more podiums than well, certainly Ragozza's got lots of Superlights podiums as well, but Filin is really the FS1 reverse grid master. He's already taken one podium today, and the more they fight, the more he's licking his lips here. So here comes Ragozza back to the inside as they approach this Spitz curve and into the hairpin. He's covered off the line on entry, and blocked the path of Kozlowski, almost backing him into Lucas Fylan here. So Fylan, you almost sense him pacing himself, waiting for the best opportunity. You can see Rozak on the road to P6 at the moment. Mikkonen is again in the top 7, as he was in the first race for quite a lot of it. And Rozak knows that if he can take that P6, that's a good 10, 12 at least championship points he could gain back on Alex Laho, and that'd be gold dust for him right now, especially because we saw this position at Spa race 2, and then Rozak got flipped over the curb. So I think Rozak will be just taking it easy and hoping nothing bad happens to him. Well, he has set personal best lap of the race, 120.0. He is starting to catch Fylan ahead of him by 0.2 a lap, as we're now at half distance, and Hamming is 0.8 behind Cardas in the battle for the win.
Yeah, that is just where Frank would love to be to make a possibility of winning the Grand Prix, the sprint race. But Thailand, here is his chance to try and pull off a double DRS overtake with that momentum he got from the feature race where he overtook the two drivers that made the contact. He leapt into place and got the podium for himself. Orel Gazowski had to wonder what might have been. But yeah, he's got the first phase done, and he will be ahead, heading towards the Mercedes-Benz arena. But now Thailand, it's just again, as you say, Ed, he's sitting back and waiting for that opportunity to come. This is the very same corner that changed the race for his betterment. But now Bassani goes down the inside into that very same corner and takes the place of Tiski. So there we go, Bassani driving very impressively in this second race.
Yeah, Tzisky, of course, on the softs, starting the very back of the field, has had to use quite a lot of them. You could see the rears sliding around there. So Bassani, very aggressive into the Mercedes-Benz arena. And now, Asir Tzisky has got to see if he can fend off FS1 race winner Che Hatch then, who is keen to get at least one Hugh Performance into the top 10, because now, we've talked about how well Hugh Performance have been doing. They've certainly got a healthy lead in the team's championship, but we could see the likes of HGP, Emerald Hummingbird, and maybe even, only really those two teams potentially cut into that lead quite drastically, really. HGP especially being the big threat in the form of Hamming. I don't know where Francesconi's out, of course, after his collision, so it's all down to Frank Hamming to do the damage himself here.
Yeah, that's all important for Hamming's perspective by himself for HGP. But this is superb from Asier down the inside again. So Tzisky is gaining another place. He's into P9 single figures. And that's going to be very, very tight though with Bassani. Bassani wants the place back.
Too aggressive.
Watching. Oh, there it goes. The bubbling under the surface has been unleashed, and that has taken Bassani down a position. Che Hatch has actually gained this time about. But Michel Galka is coming. He wants to mop up any opportunities as well. So let's wait and wonder as the aggression levels build up with 10 to go.
Yeah, for me, Bassani had lost that corner on the entry. He didn't really have the overlap. He was trying to dive up inside and hope he could make something happen, and it felt a little bit desperate there, trying to get the up hand on Tzisky. And as you say, it's Che Hatch. All they had to do is wait for his moment there, and the race fell to him. And now he's got tyres in much better condition than Asir Tzisky, who's holding up that train in front of him, but doing a superb job so far in this second race. I'm also being told that apparently Yuho was trying to steer away from Miram, and that the camera angle was a bit deceptive.
Yeah,
there,
that's
so.
what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think your instincts are absolutely right on that one, Owen. But yeah, we're seeing a bit more. Oh, big crash! And was that
It's Fisher.
It's
Galka.
It's Galka, sorry. So, oh my goodness, we talked about the Gary team getting up, and now the front right big chunk of that car is missing, so he will go no further. But what on earth happened there? Was this a sort of Francesconi style twitch on with the DRS? He's behind Bassani. Looking to make the move. Bassani gets defensive, and there, oh dear. Galka almost lost it all on his own there, and then goes straight into the wall. Lucky he doesn't collect anyone, as he's pretty much out of control by the point he hits the inside wall there.
Oh, goodness, yeah, we've been sort of blessed with the fact that the cars are not spearing into unknowing opponents at the actual entry to the hairpin. I know Francesconi and Laho's incident was a case of car losing control under top speed, and then the unknowing driver on the left was taken out. So yeah, that's just one case that we didn't get the luck we needed, but yeah, it could have been much, much worse for drivers that would have had no safety net to protect them there. But Cardas versus Hamming is still brewing away here. Hamming knows that with this preferred soft tire strategy. Oh, there's a mistake from the broken down car side. It's still
there. It's still there.
Yeah, still there.
I thought that might have been Cardos for a second there because my brain short-circuited. But no, Cardos was. We just saw in the front of that frame ahead of Hamming as we see Busani tapping the back of Harold Janovic. Busani, I think, needs to calm it down a bit. He can still get decent points out of this one. He's on the harder compound of tires, but the more frustrated he gets, the more mistakes he's going to make here. And he just needs to stick with Harold Janovic and see if he can do anything about Tasiski, who is starting to drop away a little bit, 8 tenths behind Che Hatch. But the important battle of Hamming versus Cardas, I think, even if the softs are starting to wear, Hamming has done a good job conserving them for this moment. And also, he's getting DRS from Cardas down that straight, the curved straight of the Parabolica, effectively, because it's flat out through there on the run into the hairpin. So Cardas, I think, can still win this one, but Hamming is going to start to really up his attack in these final few laps then. So Gary 82 will be waiting on tenterhooks here. Their man Cardas has got to do the business. Busani flirts with the track limits at turn 1 there. And now he's got Sislagi, who crashed out there in race number 1, looking for revenge in this second race. As we see, Rigota is gearing up for another attack up the inside of Gazowski. The rear hangs out and taps the Hermold Hummingbird there. So that is going to cost Rigota. Let's hope he's not got the suspension damage, because it can be so easily, even in that sort of low speed sort of corner, it's so easy to have heavy contact doing things like that then. So the rear just getting away from Rigota, but he is really starting to get impatient here, and you can tell the train behind Phylan and Rozak are also looking to get involved as well.
Of course, yeah, and that was what Tylene was hoping to see. He's been biding his time for the second race in succession, but this time at the slower hairpin, Ragoza just made a gentle tap. I think his car is behaving as it should, so it's just back to square one there. Gazowski hanging on to his P3 at the moment, doing the hard carrying Fairmont Hummingbird, with Roshak, of course, trying to join in on the fun. Yeah, you can see the
Hamming was very close.
Green in the background. So yeah, now Hamming is closer than ever, it seems. Yeah, he should have half the deficit to claw back with the DRS. So he's gonna certainly be very, very close, Ed, but not close enough.
Yeah, Cardas got a great exit out of turn 4 there. I think that was just a case of them closing up in the braking zone, and the same thing happens in the hairpin. But Gazowski, his defense is not done yet. Rigota is coming from, I think Rigota is going up the inside as I speak. There we go. Rigota actually going around the outside. So it was Gazowski trying to go back up the inside. And now he's got Phylan all over him like a cheap suit, and he's bringing his teammate Rozak with him. That's really low on the brakes from Gazowski, but I don't think there was ever going to be an opening there into the Mercedes-Benz arena. So now Rigota will hope to pull away before the DRS effect comes back to bite him once again here. And Gazowski, if he can't pass Rigota and gets passed by Phylan instead, will Emerald Hummingbird think about maximizing the result for Rozak, trying to get their man second in the points. A couple of extra points now that Laho is out of the equation. They kind of need to maximize here, and Rozak has got to push if there's any chance of getting another position here.
Wouldn't be a popular decision, but
no. Well, not for Gazowski, that's for sure.
Yeah, Mateus won't want to do it at all. He'll be eager to get some sort of silverware with his name on it, but if the order comes in, then it's his decision about whether or not to obey it to keep Team Harmony alive, or he'll choose to disobey and just go for it himself. But if he does go for himself, then yeah, there's a penalty for Tasiski. But Gazowski is back down the inside. He needs to complete the apex, and he certainly does. But Tylene is closing the gap on Ragoza there, and it's going to be very, very hard to call this one.
Yeah, certainly it does look like Gazowski and Ragoza are quite content to swap positions for the time being. Hamming half a second behind Cardas in the fight for the lead here. And I wonder if Hamming gets impatient, whether he might try and risk it, because he's third in the championship. Obviously, he's looking to gain on Rozak at the moment, but I think the kind of driver that Frank Hamming is, he will risk it to try and win if it's at all possible here. And that's why he went for the soft tyres. But the problem is this late in the race, Cardas has got just so much more tire life to play with here, whereas Hamming is running in a very narrow window where he's sort of just got to stay within the DRS zone and hope that what he's losing in some of the tighter corners he can make up down the high-speed sections. 5 laps to go then, and yeah, it's all about this battle for the lead and the battle for third then. So Hamming closing up under the brakes yet again, but you can see the rear's just starting to get away from him on the soft shod HGP, but this time he is just under 6/10 behind, so he's that little bit closer. Is he gaining, down the straight? 4 attempts now. It will go down to 3, almost down to 2. Will Hamming think about a late move to the inside? No, he does not. Perhaps he's waiting for the last possible moment on the last lap, so it's as heartbreaking as possible, as Desiski, I believe, has just come in to serve his drive-through penalty and come out just out of the points in P16 behind his teammate Men Ocon.
Yeah, it's a fair distance back now with that penalty, but it isn't impossible for Assier to make that up or hope for attrition ahead of him. So, yeah, by all means, take the penalty on the chin and push with all you got. And here's Mark Silagi. He's going to contest with Riccardo Bassani for 11th position there. Not quite able to perform a magical move there like we saw earlier on in the contest, but that curb ride may have cost him a 1/10 of a second. Thankfully, nothing more than that, as you can even see Riccardo pushing extremely hard as well. And yeah, I think this battle will resume in just a moment's time. The DRS will help out to close the gap back down to what it was. But you can just see how hard it is to keep that Bodle racing car in a straight line. The tires are definitely screaming for mercy, and that has to be exploited by Mark before the race is done. Without any DRS from Hiral Janovic. Oh, and Bassani has a penalty. That could be for track limits.
There we go. Well, that could put paid to his charges. Look at this. Almost 3 wide in the entry into the hairpin. Rozak. Oh, diving up the inside of Ragosa, and they lock wheels. And into the wall goes Rozak. That's exactly what he didn't need to do. Scott Flack is going to gratefully assume 2 more positions. But that is our second place man in the championship with no front wing. Desperately trying to rejoin as quickly as possible. And he's going to rejoin right into a battle here that's already getting physical between Sislagi and Pisani, who's got that penalty to serve. And through goes Sam Fisher, so Pisani sensibly lets his teammate through. Fisher is almost going to make contact with Sislagi himself. And around goes Pisani, and he's going to hit the wall. Oh, nobody can hold onto their front wing on this lap, it seems.
I beg everybody, just stay calm. I know the opportunity is so valuable.
Rozak is out then, so it's a rerun of Spa.
0 points for P2 in the championship, and that means Hamming could go for the full shebang here and leave with 20 points. But Damien Cardas, Pearl Gallery 82 are kind of in that zone where they can get some top 5s and maybe even a podium from time to time. But to win a race of any kind is a whole different story. And with 3 laps to go, Damien has to absolutely throw in the performance of his lifetime, but it could be the opportunity Hamming's been craving. Down the inside, he does have wheels neck and neck, so it doesn't have to be a concession by any means. But into turn 7, and now for Mercedes-Benz Arena, someone's got to be brave on the brakes, and Cardas just about keeps it in the limit. So very good defensive driving.
Yeah, there we go. It was quite a dive from Hamming there, but you could tell the tyres just running out of grip right when he needed it the most then. So waiting patiently for this moment, but Cardas had enough to hold on there and was brave enough to dive to the inside. But both of them, I think, are starting to really run out of tyres here as we go into these last couple of laps then. If Hamming is going to win this one, he's got to try again, and he's got to make sure he's covered off the line a bit early. He needs a better exit out of turn 4, but that's where Cardas is really strong here.
Yeah, this is Cardas's chance now. We'll see.
Oh, it's Pisani coming out the pits alongside him.
Yeah, careful.
So he decides to back out. And that's Amara getting out of the way as well.
Yes, Amara, excuse me, has gotten out of the way. So now it should be a clear fight to the end with 2 to go. Frank knew that the inside line was open to him once. He's going to be denied the second time. He'll have to try the switch back like we saw from Laho on that's bold. Yeah, on the attack earlier on with the Emerald Hummingbird, but Hamming not able to get through on this occasion.
There we go. Hamming tucks in behind as there was Mercedes-Benz Arena, tries to dive it around the outside, but again, finds he's just going to run out of road. He's pushed to the outside, almost a rerun of the collision with Gazowski there that we saw in race 1 as Cardas leaves just enough room. The sort of hip check says that we're not going to make it easy for you, Frank. So, yeah, Gary 82 are desperate for this win, and Cardas has just got to hold on for 1 lap more. But Frank Hamming, can he fight against these tires and steal the win here? Well, he's got a bit of a history of doing this, but how much would this mean to Cardas if he can just hold on to this one?
That's the story now for Damien Cardas. 1 lap to go with Rorschach down and out, with Axel Holt down and out. Hamming, he knows every point counts. But Gallery 82, this is what they dream of. This is why you enter sim racing in the GPV pyramid system. They go for wins and they dream of maximizing their opportunity. But this is Hamming's last chance. If he can't do it here at the hairpin head, I don't think it's possible on those kind of worn tires. Outside line again.
Oh, look at that.
Very high into the corner.
Cardas extending the corner as long as he can to block the path of Hamming then. But Frank Hamming again gets a decent exit, nips to the inside as they approach turn 7 now towards the Mercedes-Benz Arena of 8. This time Hamming is really risking it around the outside and finds himself almost forced off track there. And Cardas, tough but fair, he is held onto the lead then, and he's just got to survive through the stadium section. You can see Phelan has gained a lot in this. He's cleared Gazowski and gotten to the podium for the 2nd race in a row. But just Sachs curve and the last couple of corners to go for Damien Cardas. Gary 82 have had to wait a long time for this win here, but they've returned to FS1. They didn't start the season the way they really wanted to, but they've turned it around. Through the final corner comes Damien Cardas, and he's a winner again in FS1 in 2026. The 2nd race in Hockenheim goes to the Polish driver after a brilliant defensive drive to hold back Frank Hamming. Lucas Tylan is going to finish 3rd to round out the podium ahead of Gazowski. Black Mikkonen gets a top 6, another best ever result for him, and Che Hatch from 14th on the grid finishes P7 ahead of Ragotza, who really faded at the end. Heljanovic and Sislagi round out the top 10.
Oh goodness, yeah, if there was a bit of measured and calculating approaches to the feature race, then we got the absolute opposite here in the sprint. It was all guns blazing from the very first corner to the checkered flag. But take nothing away from Damien Cardas. He realised the opportunity was there. The bottles were close by, but he took his chance, and then Hamming climbed up to give him his best possible challenge. But well done, Damien. That was thoroughly deserved, and you can perform your celebratory donuts now.
Yeah, there we go. They'll be very sweet then. And let's not forget, Garrity too had such a tough time in Super Lights, didn't they, the last couple of seasons, really. They didn't have a whole lot to celebrate. I went into the season not expecting they would do very well, as Cardas shows some brilliant car control with tyres that are the same temperature as the surface of the sun right now after that donut, but somehow managed to keep out of the wall there, unlike so many others. And yeah, Cardas showing his class, of course, starting on the front row, gave him the advantage, but he had the experience to really make the most of it, whereas Busani, of course, fell to just outside the points in the end. So his inexperience, I think, from that reverse group pole showing there. But let's recap the final results then. Cardas takes his first win in a good couple of seasons. Because the website is completely down right now, I can't even begin to tell you when his last win was.
Yeah, we don't have our facts.
As he reverses into the pit entry, just a little start. I think he's not done celebrating yet. We're going to struggle to get an interview out of him beyond the excited screaming, I think. But Frank Hamming finishes 2nd. Good points for HGP in this one. Lucas Tylan, 2 races, 2 third places then. This one a little bit less dramatic, but nonetheless hard fought to beat Gazowski in that huge battle. Scott Flack, a bit of a quiet one from him. He nonetheless pockets P5. Pessi Mikkonen, a best ever P6 for Alpha Sierra. Important points for them in their fight against Team Iris. Che Hatch, after a big spin in the first race, cost him a podium. He recovers up to P7. Damage limitation for his performance. Alexander Ragotza, after his collision with Rozak, fades to P8. And Heljanovic is going to finish in P9 for Team Iris, just ahead of the 2nd Alpha Sierra of Mark Sislagi. Samuel Fisher takes P11, goes a couple of places better than he did in the first race. Philip Koenig will take P12 for Team Iris, and then it's the 2 CM techs of Menno Klont and Atsia Tiziski. Tiziski will be ruining that drive-through for track limits because he was in the top 10 on the soft tyres. And Of course, it finishes just behind his teammate Clont in the end. Persis Miram will take the final point, his first point actually of his career for 0-1 in FS1. So that is something for the Canadian to celebrate. Also finishing were Bisani having served his drive-through penalty at the end, and Sofian Amara. Very late call-up. Sofian did well just to get to the end of that one, relatively unscathed. But the same cannot be said for Paul Patrick Rozak, who lost his front wing after connecting wheels with Alexander Ragotza. Massimiliano Riboli, we didn't see what happened to him. Michal Gaka, we definitely saw what happened to him, and it was very dramatic. Him losing control of the DRS and flipping over almost and slamming into the wall at high speed towards Spitz Curve. And yeah, quite a dramatic way for Galka to end his race. Behind Michal Galka in the list of retirements, we have Juho Soppanen, who also crashed out spectacularly. Michael Francesconi and Alex Laho after those two came together. So our championship leader once more not having the luck that he really wanted in race number 2. But, well, winning race number 1 is surely going to be enough to just mean that he doesn't have to worry about his championship lead being under particular threat, especially as his main rival Rozak did not finish either, as we see the Bodal, which seems to be the last car in, just trying to get into the garage and end the session. But anyway, Owen, that concludes all the action from Hockenheimring. Certainly a great battle for third onwards in race number 1. And as you say, a frenetic race number 2. Certainly controversial, though, with some of those collisions. I think a lot of unhappy drivers there at the end of that one towards the bottom of the field. But a very, very happy Damien Cardes and Galley82. Niels would be certainly happy with that one.
Oh yeah, Niels, he's going to be jumping for joy. How wonderful it feels to be a winning team manager. I'm sure he'll savor that one for the entire summer break. And yeah, I suppose, yeah, just a point with Alex, the race 2s before pause in proceedings have been very unlucky for him because Canada, you remember, that was the spring break roundup, and he had a shocker with the collision with Thailand, I believe it was, and that cost him more points, and he was very glum because he knew Imola would be a non-appearance for him. So yeah, poor Alex. The one weakness he has is just these kind of climbs up the grid, and he just has something that knocks him down out of his control. So yeah, sorry for Alex in that regard, but he still has an incredible lead, and he can just basically win race 1s to the end of the season. That should be enough by themselves to win the title.
Well, you'd think so, but you never know. Eh? It could be that somebody does get their act together in race number 1 and is able to. Well, Rozak's the only one that's really come close so far this season, and yeah, we'll have to see if the story changes next time at Monza, which is another circuit that Alex Laho is very strong at. So we have got 3 of our drivers waiting to talk to us. We have got Alex Laho, Juho Soppanen, and Sofian Amara. So. Shall we keep Alex waiting, as we tend to do, and go for maybe some of our, I don't want to say less fancy runners, but certainly our super subs appearing once again. Let's go for Sofian Amara and hear what Sophia Amara the French, as it's written on Discord. So I assume that's because that's the nation he comes from and not him doing an Alex Laho thing.
Yeah.
So, Sofian Amara from MS Performance joins us now. A very late call-up, Sofian. We're happy to have you there. That looked like a race where you were just struggling to get to grips with things. Tell us about your experience. How late was the call up in the first place?
It was way too late, the call. I wasn't prepared for that race, but it was in maybe when I received that message, I was maybe this night. This is my race. No. It was the opposite, and it was an occasion for me. So I was like, okay, let's go. Why not? And yeah, I won't say that it was fun because I didn't do some lap before the race because I don't know why. I've got a big problem with R Factor. He didn't want to join the session. So I didn't make the qualifying, the race 1. I didn't even practice. So the first time it was race 2. And I know that at that time it was a little bit hard. but it was fun to drive. It was my first time here, and I really enjoy it. But yeah. It was a really late call, and yeah, just nothing to say about that. Yeah.
Oh, you did well to finish because there are a lot of drivers that didn't, to put it mildly. So you may have been a couple of laps down, but you
Yeah.
at least got the car back in one piece. I even noticed on the formation lap, we're riding on board, and you seem to go off into the runoff at the final corner.
Oh yeah, no, it was to say to the fan, hey, I'm here. Also, no, it was on purpose, but
to delay the start. Okay.
yeah. But I was just chilling on this race, making some good lap. But maybe I will return. Maybe, who knows?
Careful, you can get addicted to this FS1 business. Anyway, Owen, any questions for our latest FS1 driver?
Well, I suppose, is this a track that you enjoy? Is it something that I know you couldn't practice for, but Savina, was it be a track that you do enjoy in general, or is it just one that, you know, with your connection problems, you're just hoping to get it out of the way?
Yeah. I get a lot of problem recently. It's very hard, and I don't know what to say about that. To be honest, I'm sorry. You mean for the next races?
Well, I suppose this track, this Hockenheimring, is the one that you were looking forward to, even with the problems that you had to overcome.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
That's okay, no worries at all. It's worth asking, but yeah, I suppose if you can get the call up for 4 weeks' time, would you be willing to grab it with both hands?
Okay. No, en fait, I'm a little bit confused because I met the super light at Spa. I don't know if you talk about that or another thing.
For any next race, if you can come back to FS1, would you be happy
Yeah.
to give it a proper go?
Firstly, I need to be focused on academy
Of course,
because
yes.
there is a Hockenheim on the next Monday, and
Oh, so this is practice for that. Okay.
yeah, you know, fun fact, I was doing some lap in academy, and then I received that call about FS1. So I was maybe I can try it. And, it was a practice. Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear that the
Yeah.
management of MS Performance are really on top of things in terms of
Yeah.
the drivers in a timely manner. Well, they picked someone who was practicing, so you understand the logic there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's about it from us, Sofian. Is there anyone else you want to shout out before we let you go?
I just want to say a big thank you to everyone. Yeah, I say this. I want to thank Loic because it's him who talk about me, who's maybe a good talent about FS1, and maybe if I did a good performance Monday, maybe I can do some race in FS2 or FS1. But I wasn't ready enough today, so I will say. Oh, I don't know. My English is so bad. Sorry, but
No, you didn't great.
oh, thanks. This race tonight, it wasn't my real talent. I can do more. I will do podium victory. No.
All right, Menacon.
Okay. Now, thank you both to be kind with me with all these questions. To be honest.
Oh, no worries. We look forward to seeing what you can do in the future. Well, thanks for talking to Sofian Amara from MS
Yeah.
Performance, and we hope
Thank
you have a
you.
good evening.
Thanks,
Right.
you both.
Right, let's
Thank
drag
you,
in someone
Sofian.
let's drag in
Bye-bye.
someone next who is probably going to be upset with what I said earlier, and that is Mr. Juho Soppinen from Excellion.
Okay.
So Juho joins us now in the commentary box. Hello, Juho. So it's great. Oh no, he doesn't. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Very rude. Oh, what?
He comes back.
Let me
Yeah,
see.
he's
He
in
just
the
sent me a
waiting
bad-
room.
Oh, he said, "Oh, put me back." Okay.
All right, yeah,
Why
we'll
did
talk
you
to him
leave in the
later then.
first place? Jesus Christ. All right. Okay, I didn't realize this was so hard. Hello, Yuho. Are you ready to talk to us now?
Yeah. Today was a disappointing day. Just saying.
Well, it's interesting because it didn't start off too bad in race number 1.
No, it started very bad. 7% wear.
All right. Okay. The tire wear was bad. Was that why you went for the undercut early, off of the softs to the hards?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That front left was melting like mozzarella cheese.
Hmm. We know how you like your pizzas then.
Okay. I mean, surprise! I had pizza.
Well, no, that's not a bad choice. I had a burger before this. Anyway, let's talk about racing rather than food.
Yeah.
So, race number 1, you go for the hards, and you just get caught up in an incident. Also, I can't even remember what happened in race number 1. To be honest.
Two drive-throughs.
That was it. Yes.
Yeah. My pit limiter was not even going on. Like I had to double press it most of the time.
Well, that is unfortunate. And then race number 2, very chaotic up and down the field. We saw, I think you were fighting with, was it Samuel Fisher and Perseus Miram, I think it was. And I think Miram ran into the back of you, didn't he, at the Mercedes-Benz Arena 10-8. So obviously we made a bad call, and I apologize for that because it looked a little bit like you ran into Perseus immediately after that. But according to what Layla told me, it wasn't deliberate. It was just a deceptive camera angle because it's kind of a fisheye lens at that point. So
Yeah, I mean, if I gotta be honest, I got missed basically. Then of course my force feedback started to whomper around, and then all of a sudden it just jerked right, and then I just,
it's not ideal for a left-hand corner.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I want to switch from this wheel as well. It's been painful. It's been a painful 3 years with this wheel, and of course, to be fair, I'm frustrated how it went. I had really good. We fixed the tire wear on race 2. Thank you, Tommaso, because we realized there were so many settings wrong, and today it was just bad. And I'm glad to go on a summer break, even though it's my return to GPV after a while. But of course, I wish to get points today. There was so much to be called for, because there was so many chances, but it was just taken away without my fault as well. And it's sometimes like this. I guess life throws bleeps around you.
Yeah, life certainly throws its curveballs, not just FS1 as well. But anyway, good to hear that you have got plans to get a new wheel. And we've seen with some driver like Eunice Carola, who seems to be in the waiting room for some reason, even though he wasn't in that race. He changed wheel as well and is doing quite well in FS2. So there's hope. There's hope for everyone yet. Yeah.
I mean, he's in a lower category, and he should actually focus on that than getting interviews in FS1.
Well, maybe they all just want to take Alex and Lorenzo for some reason. But anyway, I don't know what
Alex is the popular boy. Just saying.
Yeah, we might have to get to him next. But anyway, yeah, there's not too much else from my side to say. Oh, and you got any questions for our Excellion man?
How Zhuhao, I suppose my question is, your qualifying got you up to P20 out of 23. So do you have any recollection of how that went for you, or was it just another case of the wheel was giving you trouble?
Terrible setup. I just made it by myself without any knowledge. I just basically tried to fiddle around with the setup, and it was not fun, to be fair. Yeah, I've been overworked today, and I think I really should get some sleep. I think I forgot that I have college next week, so I have to fix my sleeping schedule.
Yeah, that would make certainly a lot of sense to me, Zhuhao. So yeah, get some nice rest and move on to your college work.
Yep, and I'll be back for Monza and the rest of the season, so I think Monza will be better.
Oh, we look forward to seeing you there. And
Yeah,
yeah, certainly some good memories from Monza from last year as well, in FS2 of us. So yeah, let's hope you have a good time there as well. And yeah, until then, best of luck in your education, I guess.
My quote-unquote pole position in Monza.
But just like Pisani's poll from today.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I don't want to diss Riccardo Pisani because he got some good points today. But anyway,
Yeah,
thanks
he
to all
got
this you.
All right, Dragon Alex next.
I suppose that's next. Yeah. All right. Anyway, thanks for talking to us, and we'll see you now.
See you around. Ciao.
Bye.
Oh, sorry, Alex. Didn't want to waste any time there. And I dragged him in mid-sentence there. So Alex Laho, our race 1 winner and still runaway championship leader by 96 points, joins us now. So Alex, I suppose it's a similar story to, say, Spa and a couple other rounds where race 1, you took pole position, brief challenge from Rozak early in the race, and then you just got back ahead at the hairpin and pulled away. And then race number 2 was where the problems began. So let's go on the positives first. Race number 1. Did you expect Patrick to make the move on the first lap there?
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. Sipsham and DRS were like way too strong to, as per usual, I would say. Just stick behind him, save a bit of tires, overtake him, run away. Classic. Yeah, not much to say really. Like qualifying, lap of life, P1, right? Rorschach also did pretty good. He was on an also lap. Yeah, he did a really good lap.
It would look really, really good if you weren't there. Like
FS 1.5, they say. No.
So anyway, I guess that's the positives then.
Only the positive, yeah. You're winning race 1, keeping the streak alive, and
that's 10 now.
Yeah, race 2, guys. I disconnected. No worries. No, it's fine. I
don't know who you think you're gonna fool with that one. But, yeah, I suppose you and Francesconi are gonna be best buddies now.
No, I just teleported off the track. It's fine, guys. It's
like nothing to do with Michael getting all out of shape and
nothing to do with collisions or something. My car became blue in race 2, by the way, of damage.
You did go through the barrier, I think. I noticed at one point there.
Almost.
Half in, half
almost.
Out. So it was a little bit. I thought you were going to go the way of Roman Grosjean there, but luckily you survived. And then Michelle
my leg is fractured.
An even bigger accident. So, at least you didn't get burned.
I almost lost my leg. Yeah, true. I almost did lose my leg in the crash, unfortunately.
Shipping off to Boston.
Well, there's just less Laho and to lose aerodynamic efficiency, less weight.
True, less weight, less ballast.
Okay, well, I suppose that's Hockenheim done, but Monza next after the break. Is this a well-timed break for you? Monza is seen of a previous pole for you in FS1, if I'm not mistaken. So a happy hunting ground in some ways, or is it just one where you're just trying to get to the end of it?
The latter.
Okay.
Just try to get to the end.
Well, that was the strategy in FSR. It didn't work out too bad.
It didn't work out too bad in FSR, yeah.
Alright, okay. I guess that's all I'm getting out of you today. Eoin, you got anything to say to our runaway championship leader who's getting closer and closer to sealing the title?
Oh yeah, I'm having a drink. Cheers, guys.
I'm afraid no, I had you covered the questions I wanted to bring to Alex's attention, but yeah, I just made the point that your luck for races just before break has been pretty poor, I have to say. You've been denied in race 2 Canada, and you've been denied race 2 today, so certainly you want to have the title well wrapped up before the finale, the last break, of course, to conclude the season. So yeah, is there anything you think that for the final leg of the season that you can improve upon, I suppose, before I know you've been so dominant, but there's surely something you feel like I could do better at?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll keep like Singapore target to try and win the championship, just like 2024, and I will try to do the same for FSR. Just win everything at Singapore.
Now is there? Okay.
Yeah, it's on my watch, so we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. Your clocks to Singapore time. All right.
I have my clock sextant part-time. I have saved from like 2017. So good times.
That's a while ago.
It is a while ago, but I never bothered to undo it.
Punk.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Well, sometimes timekeeping is crucial, but luckily not in Eoin Harmon's house.
No.
Anyway, thank you so much for talking to us, Alex. And yeah,
Yeah, no problem. And
bring on the next
anytime.
The next part of this Steamroller Le Ho Championship. Another magnificent. Oh, okay. Just leave mid sentence then. Why don't you? Anyway, well, I think I get, as you said, and I did all the I took away all the good questions. So how about for the last one, I bring you Lorenzo, and you can do questions this time.
Absolutely. So welcome in, Lorenzo. Certainly an exciting pair of races there for the bottle. But I suppose you want to talk about race 2 first, because that was high drama.
Yeah, definitely an interesting round today. Race 2, Ricardo kind of struggled with tire fall off, had a drive through. Unfortunately, didn't work out good for him. Samuel was involved on lap 1, so still managed to fight back up to 11th on his debut, no less. So I'm happy with him. Yeah, bit of a tough period for the team right now, but I don't think we're the only ones struggling really. So
Yeah, I suppose you went very long on strategy for race 1 with both drivers, hoping to test those hard tires to the very limit. So did everyone agree on that from the get-go? Was it someone thinking maybe I should do something different, but the team came first? Was that the way it was?
and we didn't prolong much more than was planned initially. I think the initial plan was to pit around lap 19 or 20, and then we went another lap or 2 longer. So that sort of worked out in the end, or well, at least did for Ricardo. Samuel, unfortunately, had the same mistake as Che did, where he forgot to switch compounds, so the both of them had to change back onto the softs after starting on hards. But whereas Che did gain points from it, and Samuel didn't, so a round full of mishaps. Race 1 was for Samuel, race 2 was for Ricardo, so sort of evened out in a malicious sort of way, but there were still some points to be scored, so could have always been worse.
Absolutely, yeah. You take any points that you can get. And I suppose my final question for you, Lorenzo, we had a chat in YouTube's live stream there, just saying that James and Alex, they've got real life commitments that have kept them away, but you want to confirm for sure that they're interested in coming back for the Monza round and beyond?
I mean, they're definitely interested, but whether they will be available in 4 weeks' time, that's a different story. James has told me before that he would be busy with things like university and related things. For example, for Hockenheim, he was unavailable due to going to Silverstone for the it was some sort of endurance race. I think he was at the British 24 Hours. I actually don't know if that's a Silverstone or not, but nevertheless wasn't able to make it. And then AGG has been missing for the past 2 rounds because his workplace is just short-staffed, so he hasn't been able to call out of work for the rounds. I do think that, well, I do hope that they're still interested in finishing the rest of the season. They haven't shown any indication in our talks that would be any different. But whether they'll be able to do it and whether they'll be doing next season as well, if we are here for next season as well, because there are definitely options in my mind currently, so yeah, unknown.
I appreciate the forthright answer there, Lorenzo, and make sure that you can enjoy some of the summer break, as it is very much needed. Everyone has been working so hard in the background. So yeah, make sure you get your bit of a break and enjoy the football as well. No, Pats didn't make it this year, but yeah, it's good to see the Conference League results tick in. So yeah, it's good to have that back as well.
Yeah, shame for Derry though.
That's true. Yeah, poor Alamir. Oh well.
Take care, you all guys.
Bye now. That's our interview segment complete, Ed. So that will be the 2/3 mark of the season, pretty much. The 5-race segment for the summertime is in the books, and yeah, it has been still the Alex Laho show, but not even he can prevent a bit of bad luck hitting him on the way down the line as well. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun.
In this case.
Yes, literally, yes, he has been struck down by events out of his control. So it's not fully over, but he believes there is a path to victory opening up for him, and yeah, I don't blame him. He is so dominant more often than not.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget, of course, Eamon Cardes. So unfortunately, we couldn't get an interview of him, but yeah, Cardes doing brilliantly to take that long-awaited win for Garrett 82 after they'd had such a tough period. They really earned that one, and Cardes had to find all reserves that he had to hold back that fearsome Frank Hamming on the decaying soft tyres then. So even on decayed soft tyres, Frank Hamming was a big threat, and with Rozak not scoring in that second race, the fight, it could now be a fight for P2 in the championship. And let's not forget Phylan third in both races as well. So certainly a lot of interesting stories coming out of that one. But as you say, Eoin, that is it. That is both races from round 11 here at the Hockenheimring done. We're going to go, as we say, on just under a month's break, and we'll be back in a few weeks' time for round 12, the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, of course, the Temple of Speed, which I'm sure is going to be a great resumption as we get closer and closer to the conclusion of the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 Championship. But anyway, from me, Edward Hunter, from him, Eoin Harmon, and our broadcast director, Fabian Jungbluth, thank you very much for watching, and good night.